It is 6:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. After getting their big win over Ohio State, Michigan made a big leap in the latest college football rankings. Michigan jumped to number 2 in the latest rankings that were released yesterday. Undefeated Georgia remains at number 1. Alabama remains at number 3 after surviving against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. The Bulldogs and the Tide will meet in the SEC championship game on Saturday. Meanwhile, undefeated Cincinnati is at number 4. College basketball yesterday. Number 13, Tennessee crushed Presbyterian 86-44. Kennedy Chandler had 15 points and 7 assists. And the Nashville Predators destroyed the Columbus Blue Jackets 6-0 last night at Bridgestone Arena. Philip Forsberg had 4 goals. Teammate Mikhail Granlund had 4 assists. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your Over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Wednesday edition of the program brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com to learn more. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life. Ramon Foster is here. Jonathan Schaefer is here. His voice sounds eerily similar to mine a couple of weeks ago.
Little croaky. I feel
great.
better than you did.
Yeah,
but I sound as bad.
You diagnosed him.
You maybe don't sound quite as bad. You didn't hear me the couple days that I wasn't.
Oh, true.
After the Wednesday when I tried.
Oh.
Thursday and Friday were
Iffy.
It was a problem.
It was iffy.
CG looked past me because she didn't recognize my voice.
I'm iffy, Jack.
Did not recognize my voice.
Yeah, I don't feel bad. It's just not working right now.
It sucks.
Your voice sounds better today.
A little bit, I hope, but I've got a sore throat and I coughed all the way here, so there you go.
Did you get throat punched?
No. But she is now kicking and striking, and she's a tyrant in the high chair.
Yeah.
She's in the high chair now, and she's got a bib that's embroidered with her name on it.
Yeah.
As soon as she gets the bib on, I just look at her different. Because she just kind of sits there. She sits up, and you've seen the shots of babies that she isn't quite there, but like when she finishes her spoonful of strained green beans or whatever, she drops the spoon on the high chair and kind of kicks it towards Abby, like, "All right, next spoonful, please."
More.
And then if you try to feed her, no, she wants the utensil in her hand.
Oh man. Well, I mean, hey, when she's a gangbanger like that, you got to respect it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is who she is. And you've been knowing she was going to be a savage ever since the day you put her behind them bars.
She's a great baby, but she also she definitely wants what she wants when she wants it. Mm-hmm. I do what I can do when I can do it.
When I can do it.
On the way in, stopped at the Bucks.
Okay.
And the tip jar outside.
Yeah.
It was 2 of them. One said Elf and one said Home Alone. And I was like, well, here's an easy way to get a tip at 5:30 in the morning because Home Alone is one of my all-time favorite movies, period. So let me go ahead and drop a couple in, even though it's not an egregious question because Elf's a hell of a movie.
Yes,
Elf's
really
a great
good.
Even it's one I didn't see for a long time. I've just seen it recently in the last handful of years. But Abby loves it, and so we've already watched it this year. Elf's great.
It is.
It's just not stacking up against the first Home Alone because I watch Home Alone 365.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I probably watch it 20 times a year. I don't sit and watch it start to finish, but I have it on in the background because it's because I know it by heart pretty much start to finish.
Can I trigger you then real quick since we are in December?
Be real careful if you're talking about that reboot.
No, we're not there. This is the end of the year season of lists. Okay, we got past Thanksgiving. Okay, my wife is a huge, hey, don't disrespect Thanksgiving. Like, let me enjoy the last, cool holiday that, it's around the birthday. It's all those types of things. Don't ruin Thanksgiving. There's no need for you to be putting up your Christmas tree November 1st. That's just where she is, okay? Day after Thanksgiving, do your thing. We can celebrate Christmas. So, yesterday, it was Barstool Sports that actually posted this. Did you see the list?
No, I don't follow Barstool.
It was top 10. It was across my timeline, so I saw it, and I was a little triggered too. So I figured you would be from your conversation this morning. Top 10 Christmas movies of all.
Here we go. Starting early in the season.
We ready? We got to start. We got to start a ride because you're not here next week, so we got to.
Hey, it's already a winter wonderland in my house.
Look.
Abby's decided we need to take every photo in under the sun for CG's first Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's been a winter wonderland since
Die
for
Hard
a couple weeks.
Die Hard was on the TV last night.
You saw the shirt I was wearing yesterday.
Yeah,
Yes, I did.
I did see that.
John McClane.
I
With
wait
the
to
Santa hat.
Hey, you're not wrong. The holiday season is real, okay? You respect it. I respect it, Shafe. You clearly respect it too.
Absolutely.
Technically, after Thanksgiving, I feel like all bets are off.
Yeah, 100%. You ready to go down this list?
I mean, no, but yeah.
I was triggered. I'm going to be completely honest with you. All right, here we go.
By the way, we're back to normal. Forget sports. We're back to normal.
Yeah, I don't give a
Yeah, what
Yeah,
are
crap.
sports, man? Nobody want to talk about that. Well, we do got some juice in this that came out yesterday, though. Your boy Brian Kelly was a savage.
Dude, none of that is news.
It's not?
I mean, like I said, you saw what I texted you,
Yeah,
right?
I did see that.
He'd always tell kids, don't go to the pros, you're going to fail,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, like stay at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And like I remember Deshaun Kaiser was one guy he said was going to flame out. Now, he turned out to be pretty right about that one.
Yeah.
But I didn't think Deshaun Kaiser was going to be a great pro either. But he also goes after guys that don't want to play in
What
bowl
about Jalen
games.
Smith,
I think
too?
he went after Christian McCaffrey years ago when he didn't play in that bowl game and all that. It's like, you're not doing your university right. And then he goes and takes $9.5 million a year from LSU.
Come on,
It's like
now.
all that guy was trying to do was preserve his payday in the NFL, not playing in an exhibition game that doesn't mean anything.
Kind of closer to $10 million a year.
Closer to seeing him with a whole lot of escalators in that thing.
Yeah, but
But
he's always kind of been, had that whole situation with the player that
yeah.
there have been a lot of issues.
They had the scissor lift thing.
But let's not
let's-
choose violence on Brian Kelly yet.
Oh, we
ease
have
into it.
look, we've got Notre Dame alums coming up in the show. We got plenty of time.
Yeah, we got
to get
Mike
to
Golic
that.
Sr. today. We got
Man.
Rocky Boiman today.
The teammate
Rhett
that
Bryan.
Ramon forgot.
I'll never do that again.
Yeah, you'll remember him from now on. But all right, so ruin my day, please.
Ruin your day. Top 10 Christmas lists of all time.
Movie
Christmas
list.
movie.
Yeah.
1, It's a Wonderful Life.
Number one overall.
That's what
It's
they
hard
have
to
it at.
deny it. Like I
I
understand.
actually hadn't seen it.
I didn't until a few years ago.
Okay, so I'm in the same boat as you.
2 years ago, I sat
seen
down and
parts of
finally watched
You
it.
seen parts of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I finally watched it. I didn't realize how dark it was.
Oh, it's a dark movie.
It's a dark movie?
It's about suicide.
Oh, all right, for sure. Let me get to it. I'll get to it. Watch it with the kids or no?
Well, I mean, it has a good uplifting message in the end, but I don't think I'm watching it with kids because you have to be able to understand
Yeah,
it.
I think you're 12 plus. And
Yeah, okay.
12 play RJ can watch it then. Okay.
They can watch Die Hard. They can watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, by the way, I'm listening.
Well, I think Die Hard's for all ages.
I
That's
agree.
just me.
It's the first R-rated movie I ever saw.
So this can go multiple ways right here on
That
this
and
movie
Coming to
Christmas.
America.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm listening. I'm watching the UT basketball game last night. Dane Bradshaw's doing it.
Yep.
He's got a kid now, 9 years old. Who's like their family tradition is they watch White Men Can't Jump at 9 years old. I was like, huh?
1,700.
He was just like, I watched it with my kid and couldn't understand why my dad allowed me to watch that.
He probably shouldn't have.
He probably should.
Look away when Rosie Perez comes on the screen.
See, inappropriate movies
Yeah.
at the inappropriate age.
Tell you what,
Eye
at that-
muffs.
At that age, what
I'm up. I'm up.
that's going in the yearbook.
I watched CB4 at the age I wasn't supposed to
Okay.
watch it at, but you get where I'm saying.
All right.
Number 2 on this list, Home Alone.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're doing okay here because It's a Wonderful Life is probably going to win the award for most people
Yeah,
if you were to just survey America,
Just America. Okay,
like all ages.
Kind of like
Home,
our top 4 from our top 7 yesterday. That's reasonable.
that's reasonable.
Yeah, there's
two
of
reasons.
course.
Home Alone is legit one of my all-time favorites.
It's one in my book.
When the Skirmer horn, when the symphony They timed up the movie to the soundtrack, and they played it's also my favorite score of all time. John Williams' score in that film is basically flawless.
Speaking
but I love that movie.
Symphonies, I'm gonna try to find a show of Nashville Symphonies doing holiday shows. I tell kids we got to do that this year.
Well, like I said, Skirmerhorn, like you got to go see Home Alone, but the music was played by the orchestra live.
That's coolest.
It was very cool.
Ever. 3 on this list. Fred Claus.
I've never seen Fred Claus, but I'm going to go ahead and say that I doubt that's number 3 when Christmas Vacation still hasn't been mentioned.
Okay. See what I'm saying? I told you.
And A Christmas Story hasn't been mentioned.
4, Christmas Vacation.
Okay. I would have put that 3. If I even in their list, I'd have put that
Fred
3.
Claus is fine, but it's not.
Fred Claus is a little bit of a niche pick.
Yeah,
it's not.
I liked it as a kid for sure. 5, Elf.
Elf's a really good film.
Yeah.
Never seen it the whole way through.
This is where should we go to break or should I tease it?
We'll do the next 5 after.
This is where I was triggered at 6.
Oh boy.
And you'll tell me if it's fair or not because you're an expert in this world right here. So
you being triggered leads me to believe. I mean, not that our taste is identical, but triggered is a strong word to use. So that tells me that something's wrong here.
Yeah, Ramon is just logging off of his life right now.
I'm logging off of my life right now.
615-737-1045. So this all built off of me going through the Starbucks drive-thru and seeing Elf and Home Alone as the 2 tip jars today. And I was like, well, first off, 2 good choices. Michael DeJesus has already popped in and said there should have been a third one that said both.
I love that we call him
Not wrong.
Jesus when that's not.
I know
how
it's
say
not his name.
That
But every
makes me
time I say it, I
so-
know we're saying his name wrong.
It makes me so happy.
Michael DeJesus, how do you feel about Marcus Mariota?
what about anytime I go somewhere, Raymond? Like, no,
Nope.
not Raymond.
Never was right. Still is not right. 615-737-1045. If it's down to Elf or Home Alone, who you got?
Ooh, that's yep. There's the picture of me polling.
Yep, just throw it out there, and I'll just go ahead and throw this up here
Yeah, thank you.
on the screen. We'll be right back. We will talk about the college football playoff. Michigan, look, deservedly after what they did on Saturday, steps up in the college football playoff rankings. Yes, we will take aim at Brian Kelly on this program today, and a whole lot more. Plus, we'll get to the Bill Barnwell article on Ryan Tannehill that we didn't have time to really fully get into yesterday. We'll do all that when we come back. It's JMart Ramon 104.5 The Zone.
Baker Burwell is the disability brokers that your financial advisors count on to deliver disability income protection, one of the least known about insurance coverages. If I were to ask you, almost anybody, what is your most valuable asset? Everybody to a T will probably say, it's my home. Think again, it is your income. Without that income, you can't supply the house or the car or even groceries for your family. As a former pro athlete, it wasn't a thought about ensuring my income and my career, but the same probably goes for you as well. Have you considered what happens if you couldn't continue your career due to a health or injury? Due to your health or injury. For 2 to 3% of your income, you can insure 6% of your income tax-free. You may know about short-term and long-term group disability plans that your employer may provide, but with them paying the premium for you, the benefits you get paid are taxable. Could you live off 40% of your income and still provide for you and your family? Because after taxes, that's what you'll get with your group disability plans. Disability insurance is one of the most undersold, underutilized, but most needed products. Baker Burwell is the best resource for financial advisors and insurance agents. They are a trusted friend working with your trusted advisor and to be sure that you are properly insured. They are local and just want to see the community be protected. Have you thought about your yearly income, the 15 to 20 years of your life? Your earning potential is not only important for your current family, but for your future family as well. Have your financial advisor or insurance agent call Baker Burwell and talk through the many ways that you can insure or compare your current plan to make sure it's up to date. Bad things happen to good people. We saw that this past year. We just want to implore to everyone how important it is to insure your income. Baker Burwell is here to work with your trusted advisor. You can call them at 615-309-5958 or visit their website at bakerburwell.com or simply email them at info@bakerburwell.com.
Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. By the way, we're building a field of toys to benefit the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. Toy Field, presented by T-Mobile, Tuesday, December 7th at Nissan Stadium. While you're out doing your holiday shopping, remember those in need this holiday season. Pick up a gift for a senior or a toy and help us build a field of toys at Toy Field on Tuesday, December the 7th. We'll be broadcasting live from there. Looking forward to it. It's always a great event, doing a lot of good. For more info and all the info you need, go to 1045thezone.com. I was in Target last night at 9 p.m.
The flow.
because I went on their app.
Yeah.
And I saw Coke Zero Sugar Cherry
Hey.
was in stock.
Ooh.
Hey.
And you can't find it anywhere. So I went there. Lies. Lies. Their stock hadn't been updated. They didn't even have a spot for it. It's probably 6 months old.
Dog
I was going in there to get 6 12-packs for the family for the holidays. Shut down in New England town.
Triggered?
Grand opening, grand closing.
So then, me on tilt, went home and started like scouring the internet. Maybe there's a Publix in Franklin that
So
has
what-
them. So,
so
I
what-
ordered them.
when did you
to
finally
go try
get
to
it
pick them up? I'm having trouble sleeping right now. We talked about this yesterday,
That's true.
Shave.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm off, and I again, there were single digits on the clock when I went to sleep, and it was not a 9.
Mm. So you were going to sleep when I was waking up at about 1:30 this
Yeah,
morning.
that's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Just sitting there with my eyes open.
Y'all, this is a lifestyle morning show
I'm
stuff.
t-
I'm telling you.
Will the bully found it out.
Ooh, boy, did he ever.
Will is not built for the morning crew, baby.
Speaking of which, I gotta
Uh-oh.
say this about Will.
Come on.
First off, thank you to Will.
Yeah, big time.
Yesterday came in and asked how he was doing,
What he said.
and I heard me from 5 years ago, and I was like, "Is this how I used to sound?" He goes, "Oh man, I'm doing good. I found a new show." He's like, "I caught up with Succession. Sunday nights are unbelievable." He starts naming all these different television shows, and I'm just like, "Did I sound like that 5 years ago?"
You sounded like that before.
Like my
CG.
my day was basically what I had seen that day.
You sounded like that a year ago. I kept telling us, like, man, this guy watches all the shows and movies. Thinking to myself, I got to find time for this. Now, who's in the passenger seat with me now?
Yeah. As they say in Dexter, it's the dark passenger.
Oh,
And usually when I do have time, I don't want to watch something new anyway because then I got to think.
I gotta think. I swear to you.
I will say during the mnemonic episode, I finally started watching Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Like 4 years after it's been on or whatever,
I
and
gotta
I've watched
say-
almost 2 years or 2 seasons of it so far. And I watched Mysterious Benedict Society, which, by the way, I'll just throw out there. It's a Disney Plus show. It's
Yeah.
8 episodes. One of my favorite things I've seen all year. Really good for all ages. It's good for adults, but if you have like teenage kids that can understand it, it's really well done. I would highly recommend that. It was actually Michael Burgett who had kept mentioning it to me on Twitter, one of our listeners
Yeah.
and a pal, and I finally was like, I'm just gonna watch this, and it was a good choice. My wife loves it too. Like it's really good. But anyway,
My guy Andrew in his own chat said he saw some at the Glenbrook Kroger's. That's where I shop at. So I'm gonna stop by and check on those cherry zeros for you.
if you find them,
I got you.
it's those things are it's tough, man.
We got to pay a call off yet, or
We can pay a call off. Let's go to Chris in Manchester. Chris, what's
What's
up?
up, Chris?
Fellas, how's it going this morning?
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, man, I'm triggered by y'all's Elf and Home Alone there. They both are rightfully 2 and 3 on the list.
Uh-huh.
But I'm going to choose violence right now and be a cotton-headed mini-muggins, if you know what that means. And number 1 on the list is Christmas Vacation. Hands down, there's no talking about it.
Look, Chris. Look, Chris,
Yeah.
Chris, you're not wrong, but you're kind of wrong. Like,
Oh.
I'm putting you on hold. I'm not getting rid of
Yeah,
you.
he
here.
didn't snipe you right there, Chris.
Home Alone and Christmas Vacation are the 2 that if you just ask me what 2 I know I'm going to watch repeatedly during the season, those are the 2. Home Alone to me is the easiest one to watch For one thing, every time you get to him versus the Bandits, you start looking at the violence that's involved in it.
yeah.
I did that podcast years ago where I did basically 2 hours, and at least 20 minutes of it was going through this article that had been done by various doctors about the actual injuries that would have been sustained by Harry and Marv in the first Home Alone and in Lost in New York. They'd have died like 16 times apiece.
The brick to the face.
But Home Alone is a rich tapestry.
Tapestry.
It was like the perfect storm.
Yeah.
And Christmas Vacation is basically a perfect comedy in terms of what you want. You just want to laugh and you want to see a protagonist that just can't get out of his own way, but seems to at times still have a good heart. Like those two movies I can watch them all year, but Christmas Vacation I usually only watch during Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Home Alone I watch all year round.
I could also.
And so that's why I think I would give it number one. I can understand, and again, the elf thing, Chris is saying he's triggered by it. This was Starbucks' decision. If it had been me, it would have been Home Alone and Christmas Vacation 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I could see them tomorrow doing It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street or A Christmas Story or Christmas Carol or whatever it is that you want to do. There's so many different ones. So,
Will you allow Chris to have rebuttal to that?
yes, I'll go back to
All right,
Chris
here we
now.
go, Chris.
Chris, now you may continue.
All right, my rebuttal to that, and then I'm going to go on to my next subject, which is really what I wanted to call about.
All right,
my rebuttal is Home Alone, yes, can be watched all year long. But Christmas Vacation is the greatest Christmas movie. So that's my rebuttal. My next subject, what I really wanted to call in, something I've seen. So the Brian Kelly thing makes no sense for LSU or Brian Kelly. I don't understand what either party there thought was going to be a good idea on this. I think this ends horribly for both. All right? Lincoln Riley, I'm seeing all this smoke where some of his assistants are out recruiting for USC.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, I mean, if there's any way they can prove that, is there any punishment for that? So I'll just hang up and listen. I wanted to get you guys' take on that. I've been seeing a lot of smoke, and he's just a nasty dude, too, just like Brian Kelly is. So thanks, fellas. Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah. I don't know if he's a nasty dude or not. I've never really heard anything too negative about Lincoln Riley. I mean, look, it's a business, and guys make business decisions. Mm-hmm. And you can't – the one thing that you can't do is it's okay for Lincoln. It's not okay for Brian Kelly. Like you're either okay with both of them or you're okay with neither one of them. Yeah. And really, I don't know how you can be not okay because they didn't do anything illegal. They didn't do anything wrong. They just took jobs. You might not want to root for them because of a decision that they made, but I look at the Lincoln Riley thing. I looked at what was it, Spot Track.
Yeah.
I actually sent that text to you guys last night. Spot Track was asked, what did he think of the Lincoln Riley deal? And Mike Giannetti, who's been on with us before, the guy over there at Spot Track said, it's the best deal I've ever seen. Yeah. What SC offered him is the best deal I've ever seen.
Insane. That's insane.
But I mean, look, and immediately you have to then start trying to, unfortunately, it's not that you're going after Oklahoma, but you're going after the work that you did at Oklahoma to try and put yourself in a better position at your new job. Mm-hmm. A lot of times if you take a new job and you're a supervisor, you're going to bring some people you like. Aaron Rodgers had power. What did? He brought Randall Cobb to Green Bay. When you look at Lincoln Riley, what was the first thing he did? Malachi Nelson, 5-star quarterback, decommitted from Oklahoma, headed to USC. Like those are the kinds of things that are going to happen. It's a dirty business. But I don't know if Lincoln Riley – I don't know that I would agree with Chris that Lincoln Riley's a nasty guy. I haven't really ever seen too much that would lead me to that.
I think the conversation is coming up because at OU Compliance, they put out a side eye with a 100 underneath it, I guess, as far as players or recruits or them being employed or were employed and recruiting for USC right now. That's where this conversation has come up at, is they're looking at it to see if it's true or can they get something against USC. But I'm thinking to myself, well, you guys did the same thing last year to the University
Wanya Morris and
of Tennessee.
Eric Gray and
Yeah. Hey, Pot.
Keyshawn Johnson.
Well, again,
Kelly.
look,
Keyshawn Lawrence. Keyshawn Lawrence.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
well, look,
There's another
I
one.
told you this off air yesterday, Shay. Far be it for me to go against a colleague that's on the air, but look, when you disagree with somebody, you disagree with somebody. Brady Quinn, who's on before us in the mornings, Monday came on the air and railed about Oklahoma fans being upset that Lincoln Riley left USC, saying it's a business and he made the right decision that he had to make at the time and get over it and be an adult. And then what happened Monday night? Well, now it's Notre Dame that did it. You know where Brady Quinn played?
Where?
Notre Dame. You know what Brady Quinn did Tuesday morning?
What'd he do?
Went off on Brian Kelly for leaving Notre Dame and called it selfish and classless. I'm like, look, you got to be consistent. If it was selfish and classless Tuesday, then it was selfish and classless Monday.
Yeah.
And you should probably back off the Oklahoma fans. Or what you said Monday was legit. So what you said Tuesday was legit. What did we hear during the break yesterday? We listened to the podcast in the garage, which is Notre Dame players. And they used their podcast on Colin Cowherd's network to talk about Brian Kelly leaving.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
And they said, we were shocked, but they thanked Brian Kelly. They said he had done all that he could for the university. They understood the situation, all this kind of stuff. Like, it's amazing that the current players had more maturity about it than like alums and fans and all this other stuff. It's not as if Brian Kelly had been there for 18 months and Lane Kiffined you. He had been there for 12 years and won 140 games for you.
Yeah.
And he made a decision to go somewhere. I think he started to think. I think there's a part of Brian Kelly that thought, I don't think I'm ever going to win a title here.
I mean, we thought that.
Right, because they would always run into somebody in a playoff where it's like, okay, they're not quite that good. They're a great team. They're well coached, but they're not that good.
Yeah, they check all the boxes.
Right.
But not that good. One of the best offensive linemen ever right now.
And I mean, running up against that recruiting and how, and when we'll talk to Golic, we talked to Golic Sr. about it too, like the challenges of recruiting at Notre Dame and all of that. Like LSU, he's going to be able to get whoever he wants, basically. And the ceiling now is a championship. Does that mean he's going to win one? No, I have no idea. Nick Saban's still coaching, so it's still going to be hard to get out of the West.
I think this is, I'll say this before we get into the movie list again, I think this is setting him up for a real big failure. Not a failure,
it could be.
But a real hard breakup.
Yeah, it could be.
Simply because you see all these people on social media saying, well, he picked the right place to go. The last three coaches that have been at LSU have. And they do all the check boxes, first rounders, this guy, that guy, Heisman winner, this guy, that guy. And they put national championship behind it also. Is Brian Kelly the same caliber as those other coaches?
Well, see, I don't know. And we're going to find out now because it's just like Stafford going to the Rams. If he doesn't win a Super Bowl, a lot of narratives change about somebody.
Yeah,
he's
buddy.
good, but is he that guy? Is he that guy?
That guy.
Is he a guy or is he that guy?
Yeah.
Legacy then kind of it gets called into question. And there is I think it was David Ubben that put this out there. The history of universities that have gone from wanting to be good to being elite by doing a coaching change is not good.
Yeah.
Like Fulmer to we saw.
Yeah.
Or Lloyd Carr to, well, we saw for Michigan for a long time. Like Nebraska running off and now still trying to figure out what they are. There's a litany of programs that have tried to go from very good to great with coaches, and it has failed miserably.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's going to happen at LSU? Well, I don't know that they had a good coach.
I mean, look at Texas. Texas has gone through it.
Oh,
They've had a little bit
They're
more
a perfect
success
example of it.
than Tennessee has. But
They got Mac Brown out of there, and they've never seen Mac Brown since.
Went and got Charlie Strong, and then think about his positioning. Had the world at his hand in Louisville. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing real good. Minus the Petrino situation, he was the next guy to do his thing. Then they come poach him. This same committee of people now look at them again after they had begged and gave Tom Herman a nice contract, booted him, and now they're, two coaches to Sarkisian?
Yeah.
And
Sarkisian said we might have 40 players on new scholarships next year. He said that 2 weeks ago. Basically, he's like, my players are scrubs. Without saying it, that's basically what he said.
You heard the D-lineman, a D-line coach. He told him, go to the transfer portal.
That's right. Please go to the transfer portal. We can't even play that on terrestrial radio.
If you hadn't seen, look up Texas D-line coach. If y'all got a second, if you are sick like us, you will laugh your behind off at what he was going off about. That guy he let him have it.
All right, so we did this. Like I said, I went to Starbucks this morning. If you follow me at JMart Radio, you'll see the photo I tweeted at their drive-thru. It just said Home Alone and Elf. It was 2 tip jars, basically. And so that led us down this pathway. And then you said you had seen a Barstool list of top 10. And I was like, well, it's a Barstool list, so I don't really care much. But
I was tricked.
Picture me polling, you can only have one Elf Home Alone. Home Alone right now winning that poll, but you can vote at JMart and Ramon. So we did the top 5, and it was It's a Wonderful Life was 1.
Home Alone.
Home Alone was 2.
Fred Claus.
Which, I've never seen that, but I highly doubt I would put it that high. 4 was Christmas Vacation. And 5 was
Elf.
Okay.
That's your top 5 Christmas movies right there. This is just their list, but it got me, okay?
Yep.
This is where it got me. Number 6 on this list, Home Alone 3.
3?
3?
3 is a terrible movie. It's horrible. It's not even a Christmas movie, if I'm not mistaken.
That was Barstool just trolling everybody.
Yeah, that's a troll.
But even still, I don't know where they get it from, but that was 6 on the list.
I guess it was a Christmas film, but no, it's a terrible movie.
It is
horrible.
I was young when I watched it, and I like watching it, but it's so many that's 7, 8, 9, 10.
It was straight to video.
Was it?
I think so.
I don't know. Might have been.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh wow!
I remember I rented
I
it.
realized
I wanted to see it, and the only thing that I'll watch of it, I've seen it multiple times. Not the whole movie though.
Yeah,
I've seen the last 25 minutes just to see.
Yeah.
Oh, what did he do to the villains? Like I just want to see that real fast.
I'll say this: me in my era when I grew up, what was this? Middle school, high school ish. I liked it a lot. It was on TV. I would stop and watch it a good bit. I enjoyed the young kid doing his thing. Like, I wasn't really looking at it all. It's not Macaulay Culkin. It was.
Are you sure that's not a typo and they didn't mean to put 2?
No. Let me finish.
Oh, so 2's in the list?
7. A Christmas Story.
I mean, A Christmas Story is a classic.
I mean, at 7?
I've seen it so many times I never need to see it again.
Fair, because they would run it for 24 straight hours.
Right, and I mean,
I watched
I've watched it my entire life. So it's one of those where I don't really need to see it every year anymore.
Yeah, for newbies, though, it's appreciated. So even if they threw 6 in there to throw you off, A Christmas Story still should be
definitely higher than Home Alone 3
or Fred Claus.
Right.
8, Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay,
That's fair.
Top 10.
I mean,
Solid.
it's classic. I've never seen it actually,
Sure.
but it's a classic.
That's fine.
9, Home Alone 2.
There's no way 3 is above 2. That makes no sense.
And when I saw 3, I was like, well, where the heck is 2 at?
I don't know how you're reading this because I would have unfollowed and blocked.
Oh, you see what I'm saying? And then 10, of course, I like it, but is it top 10? I think I could find another one. 10, Bad Santa.
Oh.
That's Barstool.
Yeah.
That's the most
told
Barstool
y'all.
answer of all time.
I told you. I was like, it's going to trigger you. And I was just like, no way this list is correct.
Well, it's not correct because no
It's
list is
opinion.
correct.
Yeah, of course.
Die Hard's not on it. Gremlins isn't on it.
Come on now.
Um,
National Lampoon?
For me, I mean, if you want,
Well, Lampoon was already on there in Christmas
If
Vacation.
you
Well,
want to
yeah,
put
yeah,
if you
yeah,
want to put
Christmas
Fred
Vacation.
Claus on there, then you need to put Arthur Christmas on there because to me, Arthur Christmas is one of the most underrated Christmas films ever, and a lot of people have never seen it, and it's terrific. There's, I mean, look, every list is subjective, but Home Alone 3 being on a list nullifies your list.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only list Home Alone 3 should be on is
Trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a saucy note.
Or decent sequels.
Cheeks.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the list they should be on.
And if you've got 3 over 2, I'm just trying to figure out why you would do that. Like, what's your reasoning? Did they just throw the list out there? They explain the list.
And Home Alone 2 was a good sequel. For sequels,
I mean,
it was a
the
good
same
sequel.
movie.
Yeah, which is fine.
It was literally the same movie.
It's fine.
Well, not literally.
But it was good. 1 and 2 are almost like tit for tat for me.
Well,
Like
yeah,
I get
mean, it's the
excited to
same-
watch Home Alone 2 as much as I do.
Usually
the
when I
regular
watch
one.
one, I watch 2.
Absolutely.
Because they're both sitting on Disney Plus. I own both the DVDs. I usually do. Now, I'm more a fan of Bearded Guy than Bird Lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think 2 kind of just plays off the riff a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I like Angels with Filthy Souls better than Angels with Even Filthier Souls.
What's this?
It's the black and white movie.
Oh, that he's playing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the change, you filthy animals.
Yeah.
Change, you filthy animal.
But look,
I mean, people are crushing them.
what, Barstool?
Yeah. Brutal list.
Look, some of it is fine. Home Alone 3 is where you lose everybody, and I think that's the whole point, is they just wanted people to see this text, so they threw Home Alone 3 in there to tick people off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Twitter is. It's not real life.
But, of course, I saw it, and I was like, what the world? What the what?
Yeah, what the what?
That's where I was, man.
615-737-1045. If you want to make an argument for Home Alone 3, I would like to hear from you.
Or how trash this list is now that your Home Alone 3 is even on it.
I can't believe that.
I'd watch Dr. Seuss The Grinch all day long.
I can't believe the
before
Grinch.
that.
I can't believe how the Grinch Stole Christmas is not in the top 10, but Home Alone 3 is.
Even the cartoon and Jim Carrey. I put both of them in there before Home Alone 3.
Yeah. Some version of A Christmas Carol probably going to be there as well. Any number of other things probably going to be there as well. 615-737-1045 is the telephone number. We'll be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Wet basement or crawl space, I want you to call United Structural Systems. I've been telling you about these guys since the beginning of this show because they've been here for a long time doing this the right way. They've been in Middle Tennessee for over 25 years. Now, over 20,000 satisfied residential customers and counting, the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. So if you have a wet basement or crawl space, you don't have to put up with that, and you shouldn't. It's not good for your home. The air you're breathing in, not good for your family. Over 2/3 of the air that you breathe into your home comes directly from your crawl space. Not to mention the problems it can cause down the road for your home. So you want to get it fixed. It might be poor drainage. Maybe it's a plumbing leak. Maybe it's underwater pressure forcing water into your basement or surface water flooding over your walls. You don't know, and you don't have to. The team at United Structural Systems, that is what they do. They'll come out, find out why you have a wet basement or crawl space, give you the plan that you need to fix it, and then you make the call. You decide to move forward. You don't pay a dime until the work is completely done and you are fully satisfied. So go ahead and make that call today for a free estimate. Find out how much it's going to cost to fix from the people I trust. Here's the telephone number, 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275 or online at ussTN.com for my pals at United Structural Systems. Oh, man, we got paid.
Did we
I
really?
guess it would have been yesterday,
It was
right?
the first.
I paid yesterday.
Yeah. We'll go.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Okay.
All Four Seasons Garage Doors making it possible. So somebody sent out the elf on the shelf. They said they were at Target at 9 p.m. buying that. Abby and I have made the decision. There will be no surveillance state in our home.
That's a
There will
no-no.
be no nanny state. There will be no CG is not going to. Plus, we don't want to move that elf around after they go to sleep every single night.
I like that pause because you were going to drop a different word.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it was very close.
Creepy.
I'm working real hard on that. But
Yeah.
we don't need that. I didn't
never
have
did.
it. I don't think they even existed when I was a
All right,
kid.
can we just be real about that whole elf on the shelf thing? Creepy AF.
Yeah,
Hey.
absolutely. Even the faces on them and stuff like that. Like,
Creepy.
nah, I'm good. I'm good. Hard
I was
pass.
in Hobby Lobby the other day, right? And they got elves, of course, that you
Why
can
were you
shop
in Hobby
for.
Lobby?
Why were you at Hobby Lobby?
Christmas shopping, man. I had to get some. We had to get some
You,
ornaments.
How many-
and stuff.
or you were
The
there because
wife.
Keisha?
How many?
was- Okay.
Keisha was there.
Okay. All right. We
Ain't,
got the
ain't,
truth
ain't,
out.
ain't none of us ever been in a Hobby Lobby
By choice.
because we wanted to be in Hobby
I ain't
Lobby.
ever rolled up on that thing.
Dude, it's got shorthand for my wife. My wife likes hoblob so much it's hoblob.
Hoblob?
Hoblob.
Almost like you go to Target too much, it becomes Target.
Oh yeah, it definitely becomes Target.
We're in there, and of course, they got all the Christmas ornaments and decorations, and these elves, okay, in Hobby Lobby. I just randomly said out loud, man, these elves got some creepy faces. And some older lady was in there. She's like, yes, they do, son. I was like, see? She started laughing and everything. I was like, see, I'm not the only one. Why would I put this elf in my house? Look at his face. That's the same thing that goes for the elf on the shelf. That little glass porcelain face of creepiness. You know what I mean when I say that. Everybody listen, y'all know what I mean when I
So,
say
when's the crew coming out to hang up the lights this year?
Yeah.
they already up.
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
We do not have 5 sets of Christmas trees at our house, nephew Sally.
5 sets.
No, 5.
Yeah.
So a few things that have been mentioned, and we'll get to a couple calls here. Michael says no Die Hard or Scrooged. What a garbage list. Agreed. Scrooged is
What
great.
about Scrooge?
And I'm a Bill Murray guy, so
See?
I like Scrooge. And the Santa Claus has been mentioned by numerous people. We usually watch 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I love Tim Allen anyway, but yeah, the Santa Claus films are really good.
I like them.
You know what? You know what my wife went to last week?
Is this going to
I'm
get you
sitting
in
there
trouble?
sick, and I'm like, no, She starts looking for Ernest Say's Christmas.
Yes.
And it wasn't there, but now it's on Disney Plus.
Is it
They
what?
added it Friday to Disney Plus.
White House, Tennessee's own.
Hey.
Jim
Varney.
Varney.
Barney, yeah.
Know what I mean, Vern. Don in the borough. What's up, Don?
What's up, Don? Good morning.
Hey guys, wanted to chime in, actually calling about the coach carousel thing, but
Sure, go
I'll
ahead.
chime in. Scrooge was on my list as well. I can't believe it didn't make one of the lists, and a lot to unpack with what y'all just discussed. But Elf on the Shelf is creepy as all get out, and it's one of those. If you're not one of those artistic parents, like they have to make it a production. I said, and they put it out on social media. It's like, is this more about you, or are you having fun with your children?
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those that okay, go see a psychiatrist as opposed to what you're trying to relive from some childhood out there. But anyway, let me tell you the big winner here out of the coaching carousel thing. In Nick Saban's contract, he has to be paid the top 3 average
Of
And,
SEC or top 5 overall in college football.
Yeah, so he just sits back. It's like, okay, yeah, y'all go do all these crazy little contracts and extensions, and I'll just get a raise and won't have to say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's absolutely right. We actually talked about that a little bit yesterday. It's not exactly a favored nations clause, but it's kind of a favored nations clause. And I did see this mentioned by somebody about Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly saw Mel Tucker beat Michigan, basically is all Michigan State did this year. They beat Michigan, and they gave him $15 million.
I think 9.5 a year.
So he was like, yeah, I'm going to get paid.
Yeah.
Like, if you're seeing Mel Tucker get that at Michigan State, and I'm not saying good for Mel Tucker,
Yeah.
but Brian Kelly winning 140 games at Notre Dame and double digits and all that other kind of stuff, he was probably like, all right, LSU's going to break me off. Let's go ahead and do this.
It's business.
It is.
What do I always say about the game of football? It's a game, but it's a business.
That's right. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. 615-737-1045. Eric in Nashville and Mark in Cane Ridge. We will lead off with you after the top of the hour headlines. Hour number 2 straight ahead here. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
Money.
It is 7:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. To the NHL, the Nashville Predators destroyed the Columbus Blue Jackets 6-0 last night at Bridgestone Arena. Philip Forsberg had 4 goals. Teammate Mikael Granlund had 4 assists for the Preds. Number 13, Tennessee crushed Presbyterian 86-44 in men's college basketball. Kennedy Chandler had 15 points and 7 assists. And after getting their big win over Ohio State, Michigan made a big leap in the latest college football rankings. Michigan jumped to number 2 in the latest rankings. Undefeated Georgia remains at number 1. Alabama at number 3 after surviving against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Bulldogs and the Tide will meet in the SEC championship game, which you can hear right here on The Zone on Saturday. Meanwhile, undefeated Cincinnati remains at number 4. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on air for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 2, JMart and Ramon here on this Wednesday, 104.5 The Zone. Rocky Boiman, Irish alum, college football analyst. We'll talk some NFL with him as well as he hosts radio in Ohio. And, well, they got one team that's good, and then the other one's Cleveland. Knew you'd appreciate that. Knew you would appreciate that.
You know what gets me, huh, Jay?
Yep.
That's my guy.
We can talk Ohio State, talk about Luke Fickell.
Yep.
Plenty going on there right now.
Yeah. Just,
One thing about you fans, you're fickle.
You're fickle.
Fickle.
615-737-1045. When trust matters, count on all Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com. Also, again, a reminder, Toy Field coming up Tuesday, building a field of toys to benefit the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program. I want to thank Planet Fitness and Freedom Boat Club of Nashville for helping make it possible. We do it every single year. Love partnering up with everybody to put toys in the hands of children that need it, as well as seniors. Pick up an unwrapped toy, bring it to Nissan Stadium for the Toy Field Toy Drive. Tuesday, December 7th, we'll be broadcasting live all day from there. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com. So, 2 things, and we'll get to the callers here. We're doing the Christmas movie thing today because I went through a Starbucks drive-thru and saw 2 tip jars, one that said Elf and one that said Home Alone. There was $1 in the Elf one, so I had to unbalance the scales and go the opposite direction and go with one of my favorite movies of all time, period. No disrespect to Elf, but in this case, I had to disrespect Elf. So then we did a top 10 deal because Barstool decided that, we just want to troll. And they put Home Alone 3 at number 6, and it's ignited a bit of a firestorm. And then somebody mentioned Elf on a Shelf, to which I responded on Twitter, we're not doing the Elf on a Shelf. There's no surveillance state in the house. It's creepy. Whole thing's creepy. And people are sending me messages, a lot of people so far, that are all saying, yeah, we'll remember this when you have that elf in 5 years. Because she's going to see that at her friends' houses, and she's going to ask where the elf is. Michael said, I was anti-elf for 5 years, and my daughter asked why all her friends have one, but she doesn't. If you're going to let them believe in Santa, they should get to have fun with an elf on the shelf. To which I said, what do you mean believe in Santa? Facts are facts. Not hard to believe in something that's real there, Michael. But I said to him, look, the answer is this. When she asked that question, those parents don't love and trust their children like we love and trust you. You're better than those kids. Matter of fact, don't even hang out with them anymore. This is why we don't mess with them.
So the elitism's going to start early, huh?
It is.
Okay.
The trajectory of your life is down to your friends you choose.
But somebody added Old Takes Exposed. My friend Fred Siegel over there was like, go ahead and mark it down.
Mark them down.
That he said that there will not be an elf thing.
Oh.
False. Let's go to Mark in Cane Ridge. Mark, what's up?
What's up, Mark?
How's it going, guys?
Morning.
On the Home Alone 3 versus Home Alone 2 thing, my 14-year-old who I just had to drop him off at high school. He's not here to present his own case, but he says that Home Alone 2 is too repetitive, and that's why he liked 3 better.
What?
Something else about Home Alone 3, the older sister is played by a young, awkward Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah, that's right.
I saw that in the credits the last time I watched it.
Get
I
out
thought
of
that was
here.
interesting as well.
Yeah,
Hello.
well, look, man. The weirdest thing to me, going back and watching Home Alone now, is Kieran Culkin,
Yeah.
Macaulay's brother,
Yeah.
playing Fuller.
Uh-huh.
That's Roman in Succession, who's one of the filthiest characters in the history of television.
Oh, wow.
And to watch him in Home Alone, and now Kieran Culkin is, Emmy nominated for one of HBO's great dramas ever. Like, it's kind of disconcerting. Let's just say that.
Wow.
Eric in Nashville. Eric, what's up?
Hey, guys. I wanted to talk about a movie that definitely should be on the list that's not on there, a movie that's kind of underrated that I like, and also a comment about Home Alone 3. But the movie that definitely should be on the list, I'm surprised we haven't got more reaction, It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed.
Yeah, it was number one.
That movie. Oh, yeah.
On the list, yeah.
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I missed that. I'm sorry. A movie I think that's kind of underrated that a lot of people probably either don't know because of my age. I'm in my late 50s, but one of the movies I watched growing up as a kid, you may or may not remember this, was March of the Wooden Soldiers with Laurel and Hardy, that Christmas movie. It was a hilarious Christmas movie where they had, I guess, an evil character named Barnaby who had these wolf characters that marched into, I guess, the village. And there was a big fight scene, and it was like puppets. It was crew puppets. It was like from the 30s, but it was hilarious. And they had like a pig that kept walking out. It was hilarious the way he walked. He kept smacking the villains on the head and stuff, and the little mice that was dropping firecracker bombs from a balloon. It was hilarious. It was tough. But to me, if you're going to have Home Alone 3 on that list, you might as well put Christmas with the Cranks, which was one of the worst Christmas movies of all time.
Terrible.
Oh, that's
Eric, sorry, Eric. I didn't mean to. I thought you were finished up, but usually you always say y'all have a good day. I did not mean to snipe you there, but yes, Christmas with the Cranks is terrible.
Christmas with the Cranks. Of course, I liked it. It was a good movie to watch.
You want to talk about one that's never talked about? It's The Ref.
The Ref? What's The Ref?
It's Dennis Leary, Kevin Spacey, which nobody really wants to talk about Kevin Spacey anymore. Dennis Leary plays he's a burglar, robs their house, and they're having trouble in their marriage. Their kids are a disaster.
Oh yeah,
ends up tying them up, and it's an interesting take on the Christmas side of things.
Yeah.
It's better than Home Alone 3. Now, look, by the way, the
I did
caller's
see that.
point about Home Alone 3 being repetitive, or Home Alone 2 being repetitive, it is. I mean, if you saw Home Alone 1, it's the same gags done again. Just tried to turn it up the way sequels usually do.
Yeah.
This time he's using technology a little bit differently and things like that.
It's in New York.
Yeah, it's in New York.
Yeah. Why did I stretch that word? Like
I don't.
Yeah,
really
why did you do
understand.
that?
I was going to
That
let
was
that go,
weird.
but it was very odd.
That was odd.
that was
Really.
By the way, Aditi's upset with you today. Ramon.
Why?
Well, not so much with you because I don't think she saw who sourced the list in terms of Barstool. She thinks Love Actually should be on that list.
Love
My
Actually.
wife would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
I've
So
never seen Love Actually.
Aditi has made a character judgment about you on Twitter. You might want to take care of that. Let her know it's not mine.
It ain't me.
Yeah.
It's you.
You always got to have a hold guy. It's the hold guy. It's not yours.
It's yours, right?
That's right.
But this list, though.
New York?
Jay is. I know that was weird by me, man. New York.
It's in New York.
So this top 10 list, I ended up getting it from Barstool Sports. Got to credit them. But their top 10 movie list of all time: 1, It's a Wonderful Life; 2, Home Alone; 3, Fred Claus; 4, Christmas Vacation; 5, Elf, and this is where it turned for me; 6, Home Alone 3; 7, A Christmas Story; 8, Miracle on 34th Street; 9, Home Alone 2, and then 10, Bad Santa.
Scrooge is getting a lot of love on the socials.
Is it really
Scrooge. I like Scrooge.
Great movie.
a lot. Yes.
I like Scrooge, but of course, wow. But of course, not mentioning the Grinch, either one of them.
Yeah, I don't know how you can do that.
That was
Yeah, the Jim Carrey one.
you didn't like the Jim Carrey one?
The animated one's the only one I'm really discussing.
Really? I like the Jim Carrey one.
I'm conflicted
fine.
about that
It's
one.
fine.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
kinda
a
with
top
Jason
10
on
Christmas
that.
movie to me.
It's okay.
I'm putting it over Home Alone 3. Oh yeah.
I don't even think that's. I don't even consider that a Christmas film.
Yeah, I was just playing.
That was just a cash grab.
It was a cash grab.
I was just trying to cash
Yeah,
in
it
on
was.
the franchise. I mean, 2 kind of was, but people actually wanted more Home Alone. That's why they gave him. That's why they got Home Alone 2.
Yeah, I ended up watching that behind the what was it? The Our Movies, the Netflix
Movies That Made Us.
Movies That Made Us. Yeah, totally botched that. That was cool watching them make that inside
High
the
school
pool,
gym.
inside the gym, and the house and everything else that was behind it. Like they really was driving through Chicago trying to find a picturesque house.
Well, that house is on sale right now on Zillow.
Are they
The McAllister house is.
getting the movie charge? They changed it a lot too now. Of course, updating it.
Of course.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. I want to get to this. Cousin Joey. What's up, Joey?
What's up, Joey?
What's up, my fam? So, one of them I was disappointed that I hadn't heard yet was, Jingle All the Way with Arnold and Sinbad.
Yeah, and Sinbad, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why
was-
you
that
like
was
that?
quite no-
I like that.
Do what?
You like that, Joey?
Oh yeah, I love that movie when I could see it, and I still try to I try to catch it out whenever I can find it and watch it. But yeah, it's hilarious. A workaholic dad and a mailman fighting over a turbo doll, and how they get both of them get suited up as a character and fight it out right there in the middle of the Christmas parade.
Yeah.
That movie is so hilarious and funny.
It
look,
is.
I remember working in a movie theater when that came out.
I'm with that.
It was all right. The sequel, I have not seen, have no interest.
I don't know.
Larry the Cable Guy instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I never even knew. At a time for me,
It's on Disney Plus.
Sinbad couldn't lose. When he did like those movies in like their mid
Nah, he could lose.
I mean, he lost a lot. But
Necessary Roughness.
his movies, did I see Necessary Roughness?
He was in that.
House Guest.
Scott Bakula.
loved House Guest.
Scott
I
the
was
best
young.
part of Necessary
Yeah, remember?
Roughness
I
was
liked
Kathy
House
Arnold.
Guest because
It was
Steve Martin.
super cool. Exactly. We were on the back cooking burgers and stuff.
Was it Steve Martin or was it Phil Hartman? It's Phil Hartman.
Was it
Phil
Phil
Hartman.
Hartman?
And Phil
It
Hartman.
was Phil
my guy.
Hartman. Yeah, he did pass away. Yeah. No, I liked Sinbad stuff growing up early. Well, in my younger life. Cool.
615-737-1045. Rocky Boiman's going to join us on the other side. We're going to get his thoughts on the state of college football with everything that's happening. He's a Notre Dame guy. He played there. He had a pretty poignant comment about I don't know how you fix it, but he's concerned about what it means for college sports, what we've seen over the last few days with some of these coaching moves. So we'll talk to him about that. We'll talk some NFL with him as he's up in Ohio and the AFC. We'll ask him if he can make sense of the AFC. I bet you he can't. Because I don't know that there's anybody in the country right now that can.
Do you even try?
Good conversation. Former Titan as well with Rocky Boiman. That's next. JMart Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. It's JMart. One thing you can predict about the weather in our region is it's unpredictable. If you want to know why, we're talking mid-60s, low 70s on Saturday. And then by the time we're at Toy Field next week, we're talking, 30s, 40s? There's going to be a cold front coming in. So all this, it's hard to even know what to wear. When we walk outside, I'm going to wish I had shorts on instead of these pants. It causes all sorts of difficulties, though, including power outages. And I don't know if everybody stops and thinks about what would happen if your home had no power right now. But I'm here to tell you, it's something you don't really have to stop and think about if you have a home generator. Home generator can make all the difference in the world. If the power goes out, generator keeps the air conditioning system running, keeps the lights on, keeps your appliances working. You can keep your phones and computers charged. All the things that have become absolute necessities for you and your family, just being able to see in terms of light in your home and air conditioning or heat at the same time, all those things. You don't have to worry about them anymore. It's really basically an insurance policy for your home. So guess who's got you covered? Lee Company. No question about it. Home generator, never been a better time to go ahead and take care of this than right now before it's super cold or before it's really in a bad situation for you. Go ahead and take care of it before everybody else jumps on it before you do. Visit leecompany.com right now. You can learn all about it, learn about offers to take advantage of, or you can give them a call, 615-567-1000. I feel like I'm calling Lee Company every couple of weeks right now because we're making sure that our home is ready to go for 2022. When you do get somebody on the horn, tell them JMart or JMart and Ramon sent you. 615-567-1000. Consider it. A home generator can make a great gift for your entire family. Lee Company, all you need. Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville, 11-year NFL veteran and Vol for Life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin. On Twitter at JMart and Ramon. Guests appear via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, including this man, former Titan, former Notre Dame alum, Rocky Boiman, joining us on the line, radio host up in Ohio, works for ESPN as well. Rocky, what's going on this morning?
Fellas, good morning. How are we looking?
We're doing pretty good. So let me ask you this, because I saw you tweet this yesterday, and we obviously spent a lot of time talking about this as well. What do you think college football is at this point? Your tweet was, should a system exist that allows college ADs to interview a sitting coach at another university whose season is not even complete? Until this is remedied, fan bases, players, etc., will feel heartache and betrayal in late November every year. And I know it's a multi-layered deal, because it's hard with the schedule and everything that's going on with signing day and how recruiting never stops. And you got the stories of Saban winning a title and then on the plane on the way home scheduling recruiting visits, not even able to celebrate for 24 hours. But what is college football if Brian Kelly makes the decision to leave Notre Dame when Notre Dame could potentially be in a college football playoff, or Lincoln Riley leaves Oklahoma less than 24 hours after they lose a pretty solid football game against their in-state rival? Like, what is college football?
Yeah, I mean, and I think my tweet was more centered around the fact that, everyone, is lashing out at Lincoln Riley for betraying Oklahoma and taking the USC job, and everyone's lashing out at Brian Kelly for turning his back on Notre Dame and taking the LSU job. But if you look at it, the system I won't say incentivizes, but the system is what allows this to happen. I feel like if there was a better way to do it, and I don't know how that would look, but I feel like Lincoln Riley would wait until the end of the season, or would wait until this set, or Brian Kelly would say, okay, I'll take the job, but I'll take it January 1st after all the bowl games are over and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, with recruiting being the way it is, you have the traditional signing period, which is February 2nd. Okay, so teams and programs, they need to get that recruiting in that time, this end of this year, to get ready for February. Well, then a couple of years ago, the geniuses of college football added an early signing period, right? December 15th to the 17th. So now it's even ramped up even more. These colleges got to get their guy in-house. So because of that, I just think it's an odd deal where Scott Woodward, who's the AD of LSU, is allowed to talk to Brian Kelly while his season is still going off about accepting the job to LSU. I understand being frustrated and upset at Brian Kelly, but what are the ways he's supposed to do it? If he wants to take another job, if he thinks that's best for him and his career and his family, he should be able to do that. But he's kind of being demonized, and all these coaches are being demonized. And I think the system of how it is a big contributor to that. I mean, the NFL right now, there is a rule where you cannot interview a sitting coach for another team until that team's season is done. Now, until something happens and gets remedied, I just think we're going to see this every single year. Programs and fan bases are going to say, what the hell, man, what you're leaving us? We got a chance for the playoff here, or a chance to go to a nice bowl game, but now you're leaving us. But I think the system incentivizes that to happen.
So one thing that I saw Nicole Auerbach actually tweet this out this morning. She said Notre Dame shouldn't be penalized in terms of their ranking based on what Brian Kelly did, but because it's human beings that are making these decisions. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame. They're sort of rudderless. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do, but they're in the discussion. If things were to break their way this weekend, they could potentially end up in the top 4. This puts Notre Dame in a really tough spot because that's a one-loss football team. Their only loss was to an undefeated Cincinnati team. And if one thing we can say for sure about college football is we can say nothing other than Georgia's good. Like, we don't know what's going to happen this weekend, but when you look at Notre Dame's situation, do you think there's a possibility they could be penalized because they lost their head coach?
Well, should they? Absolutely not. But to your first point there, human nature being what it is, I mean, the image right now of Notre Dame is this is a program in transition. They're looking toward the future, and future has nothing to do with the present, which is right now being in the conversation of the college football playoff. And yes, they can get in. It would take, I think, Michigan losing the Big Ten title game. I think it would take Alabama losing the SEC championship. It would take UC losing in the American Conference Championship, and maybe one or two other things. But it certainly is a possibility. I think it would take Oklahoma State losing. But yeah, I think they're in that conversation. But who knows what the committee does? Can anybody figure them out? Can anybody put their finger on what they value and what they don't value and what they look at? I sure as hell can't. So but being that said, I think they could look at this and say, look, this is a program optically that's in transition and moving on to the next year, and maybe use that as a way to keep them out.
Man, Rocky, as former college athletes looking at this, number one, having a whale of a coach being poached from the number 6 team in the country right now, according to the CFP, to an unranked LSU team right now. You got to ask yourself, is his ability to do what he's done at Notre Dame is going to be the same as what he was able to do at at Notre Dame? Will he be able to do the same thing at LSU? That's my biggest question for him, because it's not like he wasn't able to get the athletes. Right now, y'all recruiting classes have kids from Washington, California, New York, South Carolina. Your world, you're nationwide with your recruiting. Is he still able to compete in the SEC with this transition?
Yes. Well, and here's my take on Brian Kelly. I think that, look, he was there for 12 seasons, so he knows every nook and cranny of that program. He knows every possibility. He knows every limitation. And I think he looked at it and said, I've done everything I possibly can do to win a championship here, and I keep falling just a little bit short. Now, and to your point, look, Notre Dame is a national brand, coast to coast. They recruit kids from all over the place. But I think it's certainly different than it was 25 years ago. It's certainly different compared to some other SEC schools, I think, because, look, Notre Dame is in a geographically isolated, cold environment, right? It's not, there's not much to do in South Bend. I can tell you stories, Ramon, after we get off the phone, but there's not much to do, okay? So I think it's, so to where, the star running back, the 5-star running back 30 years ago that was in Florida was like, God, I want to be on TV every week. I want to be on that. So you had to go to Notre Dame. Now you don't have to do that, right? Now you can stay at home. You can go to a smaller school. You're going to be on TV. People are going to see you. So there's some limitations there to where, the Notre Dame kids aren't going to Notre Dame for, Newt rocking the 4 horsemen and all that stuff the way I was. They don't care about all that, right? So it's a little bit different now from that perspective. And then I think it's harder to get some of the athletes in terms of the grades and things like that. So I think all that together, Brian Kelly looked at it and said, well, hell, if Les Miles and Ed Ogeron can win championships there, given the recruiting and the resources and the fact that most NFL players in the league come from the state of Louisiana, I think I can go down there and have a better chance of winning the title in my next 10 to 15 years as a coach than I can at Notre Dame. I really believe that's how he looked at the situation pragmatically, and that's why he made the move.
Okay, and in that same sense, there's a lot of people left behind, namely student athletes, Rocky. Now, I saw Mike Golic Jr., who's also a Notre Dame alum, and he just said, from this deal and the way he left and how they found out, don't mention anything to me about a kid getting paid or money and all the resources that they should be afforded in college too. Has that narrative changed? I know there's a lot of traditionalists that say, hey, no, you're getting your education for free. But after watching Lincoln Riley's deal, looking at Brian Kelly's deal, what is the argument behind that now?
No, I mean, look, to that point, it is hard to argue that when Lincoln Riley got a plane 24/7 for his family. Anytime he wants it. The kid says, Daddy, I want to go to Disney World. Boom, gas up the jet, right? So it's kind of bonkers in terms of the wealth that's involved with college sports. But I will say this, and I do want to make this point. I think people should at least consider it. Yes, the student athletes should be upset that these coaches are leaving them. If Brian Kelly had texted me as a player at 10 p.m. and said, hey, you got a 7 a.m. meeting tomorrow morning, I want to dress the team, I wouldn't have shown up to that meeting. I would have been pissed, right? But I think we do got to realize that in some degree, everybody's looking out for themselves, right? We see more and more every single year players are opting out of bowl games. Why? Because of their future. In the NFL, players are opting out of games, opting out of seasons. Players, as soon as they're beat out for a job, boom, they enter the transfer portal. So I got to be a little bit careful because players around the country are doing what's in the best interest of themselves and not necessarily the best interest of the team when it comes to them, and coaches are doing it too. I think we got to look at least a little bit fairly and say, okay, we can't just demonize the coach and talk about the poor student athlete when at the end of the day, the reality is most of the time they're going to act in the best interest of themselves too.
Rocky Boiman joining us here on JMart and Ramon. So to your point, and I was thinking the exact same thing as you were saying, it is the transfer portal versus what we're seeing with these coaches and some of these moves and how fast they're happening and the timing of when they're happening based on the schedule. Which one do you think is a bigger problem for college football at present? The transfer portal, we have maligned that thing all year long. And I do think there's blame to go around on all sides in terms of everybody's looking out for themselves and no one else is looking out for them individually. But which one of those two things bothers you more?
You talking about the portal or just the way coaches can leave early?
Either one. That's what I'm saying. Like either one of those two things, which one do you think is a bigger concern?
I think when it comes to fan bases, I think it's coaches, leaving in the middle of the night to go take other jobs. I think that's something needs to be done. I don't know if there's a way to do it where you can't take another job until, February 1st of the next season. Now, it would take conferences and these big schools to agree to that, which they're never going to do that. Again, why? Because they're acting in their own best interest. They're going to say, look, we're going to get our coach. Everyone else can worry about themselves. We don't care about all that. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at. The transfer portal, I'm kind of up in the air about it a little bit because, I grew up, I'm sure like Ramon did, where like, look, you battle through, you stay the course. And, you kind of keep plugging away and working hard. You don't just the first time you get beat out for a job, you jump in the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, but, sometimes maybe a situation just, in reality isn't a good fit. I mean, look at Joe Burrow, right? Joe Burrow would not be a Heisman Trophy winner and a starting quarterback of a hot team right now, the Cincinnati Bengals, had he just, stayed at Ohio State and was a backup and all that sort of thing. So there's both sides of that argument. I don't think kids should be allowed to, sometimes these kids, I call college games, and they're on their, third school in 7 years. And it's like, what are we doing? So maybe, you get one mulligan. You get one, okay, it didn't work out. And then after that, I think it's got to kind of close and you got to accept reality a little bit. But, so I don't know if I answered your question. I think both things maybe need to be looked at. But from a fan base perspective, the having the coaches being able to leave programs before other program seasons are even done, I think really, really needs to take a hard look at.
Man, Rocky, I was looking at the NCAA transfer portal Twitter account yesterday, and let me tell you, it is some strange things going on in there. One position, for instance, was a kid that was in 2015, a signing recruit in 2015, a fullback who's now in the transfer portal in 2021 going into 2022. Rocky, what is the mindset? I know the mindset, and I get it. Joe Burrow benefited from this. There's a lot of players that can go from a small school to a big school, but if all you can go to that account and look at the prospects in it, I'm not saying they don't have a chance, Rocky, but at some point, you got to let that girl go, man, and continue your life.
Yes. No, amen. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a fine line there between chasing something that is different from where your vision is different from the reality. And over time, it's like, look, maybe football or being a starter at an SEC, maybe this is not in the cards for you, and that's a life lesson, right? And you use that to maybe drive you in another direction, or you allow life to kind of steer you in the direction you're supposed to go. I think that's absurd. Here's the other thing, Ramon. You want to talk about something scary? The transfer portal. I saw this stat. It's like 80% of the kids that have scholarships that enter the portal exit the portal without a scholarship.
What?
Okay, so now you're talking about a kid that, okay, yeah, you're not playing or getting as much playing time, but you're getting your college paid for. What a luxury, right, to enter this world at age 22 with no college debt. There's millions of people across the country that would cut off their finger to have that, and now you're willingly giving that up chasing something that might not be there, exiting that portal at maybe a smaller school without that college scholarship. I think kids need to really be honest with themselves. You need to look in the mirror and say, is this a real legitimate possibility that I can play at this school, or it wasn't working out here, so I'm going to go there? Because if you're just chasing around and you're not being cognizant of reality, the results on the other end of that thing can be very, very detrimental to your future.
Wow. Rocky, sort of a shift gear, but Luke Fickell, do you think he's going to stay put, and do you think his football team is one of the 4 best in the country?
Yes, I think they're one of the 4 best teams in the country. I'll answer that one first. I personally, as someone who does college football games, calls them, I watch so much college football. I personally, and this is of course subjective, but I weight an undefeated record maybe higher than some do, because I just think, guys, it is so hard. I see it week in, week out over the years. So hard to get 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids to dial in and focus every single week. They got girlfriends and they got exams and they got this is going on, that going on. So if you can find a way to, even if you're not winning convincingly, and the Bearcats haven't done that every game, if you can find a way to battle through that and be undefeated, I mean, that's why there's only 2 undefeated teams out of 130 FBS teams right now. I think that's a hard thing to do. I think their defense would match up against most top defenses in the country. I think their offense, skill position-wise, is right there. So, yes, plus their resume. They've won arguably the 2nd or 3rd best win of the season. That is beating Notre Dame on the road in South Bend. So, yes, I think they should be at number 4. And I believe that if they win the American title game here this Saturday, I think they should be in regardless. Your other question was Luke Fickell. Now, that's look, I mean, I could have just put my feet up on the desk on my radio show yesterday and just taken calls. People are losing their mind, right? Because, I mean, if you know Luke Fickell, and I do, you know that Notre Dame is one of his dream jobs, right? Everybody has a dream job, whether it's in football or accounting or lawyer or whatever it is. You have a dream job. And when that dream becomes a possible reality, you have to take a hard look at that. But, of course, the circumstances, going back to our first conversation about these schools, they want to get their coach in now and they need somebody to start recruiting right now. It makes for a very interesting situation, especially given the backdrop of 12 years ago, Brian Kelly leaving an undefeated UC team who's getting ready to play in the Sugar Bowl and taking a Notre Dame job. Boom, it's supposed to be a team meeting, whatever, he leaves, and everyone's, losing their mind about that. So now it becomes, is the same thing going to happen to Luke Fickell? Is he going to take that job? Okay, and if he does, I don't think people would fault him for that. But do you leave a team that is potentially going to make history, a group of 5 team going into the college football playoff? Would Notre Dame demand that? On one side, you say, look, if you're the AD and you say, Luke Fickell's our guy, you look at it as a long-term decision, a 5, a 10-year decision versus a 1-year decision, and you say, if he's our guy, we can wait for him. But on the other side, I will tell you this, guys, this. When Notre Dame hired Charlie Weiss back in 2004, they allowed him to coach, be the offensive coordinator for the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So he didn't pick up until, January or February of that year. And you ask any recruiting Notre Dame person, they will tell you that severely set back Notre Dame's recruiting for a significant amount of time. So you wonder, will Notre Dame allow Fickell or whoever that same sort of opportunity, knowing that it burned them in the past? That is the million-dollar question here in Cincinnati.
Great stuff, Rocky.
We
appreciate you, brother. Hopefully the book is going well, too. It's Christmas season, so that'd be a nice stocking stuffer, Rocky's Rules.
You got it, man. Pick up 1 or 100 of them, man. Go ahead.
Appreciate you, brother.
No, guy. Hey, thanks very much. Always enjoy being on your program. Good stuff, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, man. You too. That's Rocky Boiman. Go to, let me get the website right.
Go ahead and order one right now.
TheRockyBoiman.com. The book is called Rocky's Rules, a playbook for becoming your best in challenging times. Be a nice stocking stuffer for a sports fan or just somebody that needs a little bit of a good pick-me-up this Christmas. No supply chain issue. You can get Rocky's Rules. He'll make sure you get that. I can promise you.
Yeah, buddy.
So, man, there's a lot there. That transfer portal deal about the scholarship, I did not really think about that.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, if you get an opportunity to scroll mindlessly on social media, go to that page, Jay. And when you see some of the people who are jumping in the portal. Not saying this disrespectfully because my wife was like, Mo, you can't say that, but you question why is all I'm saying. Like, dog, you got a good thing right here. You're going from NAIA school. It's 2 people I saw that went to a JUCO that jumped in there after they had just left another big school. I was like, hey, take advantage of your opportunity if you have it, but make sure you have somewhere to go.
615-737-1045. We'll recap some of what we talked about with Rocky on the other side. It's JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Welcome back, JMart and Ramon. Good question here. Lincoln Riley's 2 dogs are named Boomer and Sooner. Do they respond to those names, or can you just change them?
I saw somebody say a few treats and a consistency of name changing. That'll do it.
I don't know if I'd name my dog Trojan.
Lane Kiffin called his kid Knox.
Still does.
Yep. Still named Knox.
Well, I don't think you can change your kid's name.
Oh, the other day, somebody posted an old Yeller GIF underneath that reference to Lincoln Riley's dogs. I went, whoa.
No.
Whoa. That happened.
No.
Twitter's horrible.
Yeah, there's someone that has sent us a photo, an elf on a shelf with 3 lines of, I'm going to assume that's just salt or sugar or flour.
Powdered sugar.
Matthew Gray, be better.
It's funny.
People are saying the elf on the shelf was drunk. I agree, those rosy cheeks.
I mean, it looks stoned anyway.
Thing creeps me out.
It's a creepy face.
Creepy.
Creepy guy.
Creepy guy.
Had a dude in the building in Pittsburgh that we used to just call creepy guy. Felt bad about it.
I'd get like a Will Ferrell elf on the shelf.
You didn't feel
and
that
I'd just
bad
put the
about it.
elf
You kept
up
doing
there.
You get a
The
what?
only elf on the shelf that I would get is like a Will Ferrell elf that I would just put on the mantle and never move. That's not actually looking at you.
I don't know whose face. Will Ferrell's would be a little easier because I just think looking at his face is funny.
It is.
But that box shelf that they got going on, box elf that they got going on right now, that guy, that thing's been through some stuff.
He's seen some things.
Yeah. Like he's kinfolk with Chucky, the doll.
I don't know that I'm anti elf on the shelf. People are saying it's a last word situation for me. Famous last word situation for me. The CG, there will be an elf on the shelf.
I want to side with them.
You don't have one.
I never did. No.
Right.
No, but I think CG is going to have an elf on the shelf.
I don't think so.
5 years. 4
One of the
years.
one of the first things Abby said to me was like, so we agree, right? We're not going to do the elf on the shelf.
I'm telling you, you're gonna do elf on the shelf. It's happening. I mean, but you didn't change your mind on the cold bottle milk either. So.
I feel like this is worth going to before the top of the hour.
Yes.
Funky Cheese Man, what's going on?
Top of the doohickey, fellas. Check it. Here's my opinion on Lincoln Riley, man. So, he already was about to make bankroll. What was it, like a $45 million extension or something like that to stay with Oklahoma? Okay. Well, truth of the matter is, he's scared. He won't come play SEC football. I don't care what anybody else says. He was scared to come play SEC football. That man ain't built like that. Oklahoma wasn't built like that. Hell, Texas ain't even built like that. They're not built like that. All he is a chicken. He's scared to come play SEC football. And one last thing, if you want to talk about the best Christmas movie of the year, I thought my dad had Alzheimer's for years because he always played You'll Shoot Your Eye Out over and over and over again in the office room. But I grew to like it. I think that's the best Christmas movie of the year, without a doubt.
I mean, you ain't wrong.
That's fair.
Tighten up! Gas pedal!
Yeah, he just did that at the end.
Was that him?
No, Schaefer did that. Okay. I don't think he was going to give it to us because it's bye week.
That's why I provided it.
I feel like we need to clip another clip of his when he was like, he ain't built like that. I need to have that one at some point. That's going to be good.
Top of the doohickey.
Yeah, either one.
615-737-1045. In about 25 minutes from right now, Mike Golic Sr.
Senior.
He knows a little bit about morning radio.
Yes, he does. Yeah, man.
We'll bring him in. Of course, Notre Dame. We'll be able to talk to him a little bit about that as well. We scheduled it like 2 weeks ago, and now it's perfect to have him on.
Sometimes we just do.
Well said.
It was meant to go like that.
I didn't know where to go. 615-737-1045. Bill Barnwell wrote about Ryan Tannehill. We'll parse that a little bit after the top of the hour headlines and take more of your phone calls about Christmas movies and Elf on a Shelf being creepy. Whatever you want to do. What was it you said, Moan?
Sometimes you just do.
Okay, we'll be right back. JMart and Moan, 104.5 The Zone.
I'm going to put your drawers in the crack of your ass.
Listen. It's 8:03. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Shea for the Nashville Predators. Just crushed the Columbus Blue Jackets 6-0 last night at a Rockin' Bridgestone Arena. Philip Forsberg had 4 goals. Teammate Mikael Granlund had 4 assists. College basketball men's style last night, as heard on the Zone. Number 13 Tennessee crushed Presbyterian 86-44. Kennedy Chandler 15 points and 7 assists. With their win over Ohio State, and Michigan jumped to number 2 in the latest college football playoff rankings. Undefeated Georgia remains at 1. Alabama at 3 after surviving against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. The Bulldogs and the Tide will meet in the SEC championship game on Saturday. You can hear the game right here on the Zone. Meanwhile, undefeated Cincinnati remains at number 4. The Titans placed rookie linebacker Monty Rice on injured reserve. Wide receiver Austin Mack released from the practice squad. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5, The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 3, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, Jason Martin. At Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. Mike Golic Sr. joins us in the next segment.
Senior.
I'm still just shook by your analysis there in that last segment. Your amazing detailed commentary about how things just happen.
Yeah, man. Wasn't that cool?
Meaningless.
That was amazing.
The depth was shallow.
It was good enough to get your feet wet.
I might have let CG in that water.
It was splash pad.
It was indeed. Let's go to Mitch in Brentwood. He's on line 3. Mitch, what's up?
Hey, what's happening, fellas?
Hey.
Things really do happen in New York, too.
New York.
I got to say, man, you may be fighting a losing battle. I was definitely a anti-elf guy. I let the Santa thing go. I didn't want to be that guy. But then those elves, they just showed up one day. And I don't know what you do then, but I'll tell you, we had a boy elf and a girl elf, and when Santa wasn't looking, those elves sometimes got in some compromising positions.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen those online before.
Let's just say boy elf didn't need to go to the low T center, if you know what I mean.
That's great, Mitch. That was worth the time, buddy.
What is Mitch?
I'd say be better, but
Don't.
I get the feeling that's about as good as it gets.
That's how we roll on this show.
What is
I've seen a
wrong?
lot of those elves posed in.
Why was he speaking on behalf of the elves?
Those elves
like
are
that?
multiplying.
So they get baby elves next year?
Nah.
Nah, because they're protected in plastic.
The elf thing is it's not going to happen.
Did you basically just say that elves on the shelf have safe sex because they're plastic? Is that what you basically just said?
Are they made of latex?
That's what he was saying.
They better be made of something that's going to burn. It's
Quote, this one seems easier, right?
friction.
Before the year, I ranked the Titans 3rd on my list of the best offensive weapon groupings in football. When you can give the ball to Derrick Henry or throw it to A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, your life is going to be easier. On Sunday,
Thank you, Bill Barnwell.
the Titans did not have any of these superstars. Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard, who carried the ball a combined 31 times during Sunday's loss to the Patriots, weren't even on an active roster when the 2021 season began. The only Titans players to catch more than one pass were Nick Westbrook-Akina and Cody Hollister, both undrafted free agents who've bounced between the Titans' active roster and their practice squad over the past couple of years. Naturally, Tannehill isn't going to have the same sort of success with replacement-level players at skill position spots, but that alone doesn't explain the offensive struggles. The differences in terms of catch rate and yards after catch aren't significant over the past 4 games without Henry in the fold, with a dip of about 1.8% and half a yard per pass attempt and yards after catch over expectation. So we're getting deep in the analytics here. But the Titans made up for that on Sunday with a number of big runs on the ground. More than the lack of firepower, turnovers have doomed the Titans over the past 2 weeks. Tennessee was able to get by without Henry over the first 2 games of his absence by turning the ball over just once and posting a turnover margin of +2. But that has disappeared over the past 2 games. The Titans have turned the ball over 9 times in losses to the Texans and Patriots without forcing a single takeaway themselves. That's a staggering amount for an offense which turned the ball over only 12 times all season during the 2020 campaign. If anything, the Titans are lucky to not have more. They fumbled an unconscionable 9 times over the past 2 weeks, recovering 5 of those possible giveaways. This is a place where they clearly miss Henry, who's fumbled only once every 136 touches as a pro. The Titans have fumbled about once every 16 plays over the past 2 weeks, with 4 different backs spilling the ball, and Tannehill has also been strip-sacked twice. And now, to Tannehill specifically, the Titans quarterback also has to bear some of the blame. He has thrown 5 interceptions, and while you could excuse him for throwing picks against the Patriots defense, 4 of those 5 turnovers came against the Texans. You can maybe chalk the final pick against Houston to poor receivers, but Tannehill has made some poor decisions throwing to the middle of the field and has been turned over by defenders who should have been in his range of vision. One interception came when the Titans didn't adjust to protection to some late pressure, and Houston got home with a free rusher. And then we get to the part that we talked about, Moan.
Yeah.
That was going to be crucial with Henry going out, the play-action game. If one part of the offensive formula for the Titans was scoring touchdowns in the red zone, the other was creating big plays using play-action. Henry's departure was a useful test of the research suggesting teams don't need to establish the run or have a great back to succeed with play-action. Opponents haven't been dropping more defenders into coverage without the star rusher. They played 2 deep about 37% of the time with Tannehill and Henry in the lineup, 35% over Henry's 4-game absence. But they fared much better against play action. Before Henry's injury, play action rate for the Titans was 30.9%. After, it's 20.5. Tannehill's QBR has gone from 82 to 57.5, and his yards per attempt have gone from 10.8 to 6.8. They've been far less successful and have run play action less frequently since the injury. After creating 4 explosive plays of 30-plus yards off it during the first 8 weeks of the year, the Titans haven't generated a single explosive play with a play fake since Henry's injury. Not one. Some of this likely has to do with the absences of Brown and Jones for part of that run, but it's clear the Titans have needed to change what they do in the passing game from what worked so well before the past month.
Yeah. We said it before, we said it during, and we said this needs to happen afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
What we've said, I remember when he went out, he said, and he was like, this offense has to evolve. It's got to change. It's got to, you got to wipe that makeup off and put another shade on. Like, it's the summertime. You got to tan now. You got to change, like, your makeup hues.
Right.
Don't ask me how I know that. I just know that, okay? That the offense hasn't changed, Jay. It hasn't evolved. It hasn't catered to the players that you currently have. And this is where the problem lies. Now, we had some people calling yesterday. They were questioning Todd Downing about his play calling. Bill Barnwell pretty much sums up what everybody's problems is. There's nothing that this offense has done. Yes, the game against the Rams, awesome. Who else did they beat in that stretch? Saints, awesome. Well, that was because the defense gave you short field and you capitalized. That's because the offense created turnovers. Hollywood Cole.
Yep.
I mean, there was a lot. So now you're in a position where you can't break glass in case of emergency. And we're seeing that. One of the best things I heard Ron said whenever they lost against the Patriots was this. You pay a guy like Derrick Henry for a lot of different things, but also those guys that are running the ball now, that's what the money's for also, for no turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly the truth. It's just one of the reasons why there are certain guys that are paid and have jobs and other guys don't is things like fumbling. Yes, there are tangible things like Derrick Henry's size is going to put him on a roster,
Fastest
right?
speed in the league.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you look at mistakes that are made, they're usually made by middle of the road dudes that are on the practice squad. Like, those guys are going to make more mistakes, if for no other reason than they don't even have the experience on the NFL side. It's just they're going to be more prone to do those things.
But there's two people that are working in tandem here about this conversation. That's Tannehill and then Todd Downing. Todd got to put Tannehill in better situations and make this team most successful. If he's without Julio, if he's without AJ, if he's without all of these guys that have proven veterans in this league, Josh Reynolds went to another team. You're the only big show on this offense right now, aside from the O-line, as far as skill goes. Todd got to put Tannehill in a better position. And that has yet to happen simply because you put makeup over this entire thing because the defense was playing lights out and special teams was making plays too. That's the problem. And it's got to be corrected moving forward down the stretch in which we thought it would be easier.
So we're going to talk. We're going to talk a lot more about this when Rhett comes in the fourth hour for Scout Meeting Wednesday, which with the bye week, we're not scouting anybody. So we're just going to look at the football team, and we're going to look at this in a lot more detail. But what Moan just said is dead right. When we come back, Mike Golic Sr., first time he's been on the program. We'll chat with him about Notre Dame a little bit. We'll talk about the NFL. I'm just going to ask him who's good, and I'm going to see what he says.
Yeah.
He's been covering the league for a while. He knows a little bit about morning radio. To be a great conversation. Looking forward to it. Mike Golic Sr. on the other side. JMart and Ramon 104.5 The Zone.
Imagine if the first way we did things was the only way we did them, just because that's the way we've always done it. That's what's happening when you sell your home. You list it and you have to keep it show ready because you never know when somebody's going to want to come to and drop by for a quick look. Or you have dozens of people marching through your home that may or may not be serious about buying. Most of the times, I'll be honest, they're not. They just want to see the house. And this goes on and on until the right buyer comes along. Well, now that's all ended. And it's me, Ramon Foster. And I want to tell you what I did. I went to opendoor.com and I put in my address and home info, and I got an offer back in no time. There was no listings, it was no strangers, and it was stress-free. Open Door gives you a real competitive offer in minutes. Just go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer. Open Door is the new way to sell without all the hassles of a traditional home selling. You'll know how much you'll get, and you can decide on when you want to close. Go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer today. Again, that's opendoor.com/WGFX. Offer eligibility varies. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage, Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Open Door Brokerage, LLC, in its other markets.
Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. We are anti-elf on a shelf.
Yes, we are. I was never
We are
a fan.
indeed. We're also brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville, along with 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster, and Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin. At Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. Guest appear via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Never had this guy before, but if there's one guy, Ramon, that I'm pretty sure understands what it's like to be up early on the radio, it's this gentleman, Mike Golic Sr. Mike, it's a pleasure to have you on. How are you?
Oh, my pleasure to be on. Without question, talking to you guys. Ramon, how you doing, man?
I'm good. If I could, I didn't tell them, but I'm going to fanboy out for a little bit, okay? You don't know how many times I got up in the morning, going to the facility, listening to you in the morning, man. I just want to say I'm a fan. I appreciate you. Your son, I don't know how he's straight on the other side of the path, but for you, I appreciate you and how you transition out of the game and the donut talks that you have. Hey, just want to say thank you from my side real quick. I didn't even tell them about this.
I appreciate that very much, and I do appreciate you trying to take care of my son Mike when he was in camp with you guys with the Steelers. That was nice of you. And big men always like to share donuts, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, how's life, brother? How are things going? You used to do what we're doing right now. You did it so well for a very long time. Do you miss it? I mean, how are things going for you right now?
You always miss talking sports. I don't miss for 23 years getting up at 4:15 in the morning. That part got old, but you did it just like you guys do. You know, you got to do it, so you do it. But I do miss talking sports. But you know, I'm moving on to calling college games, calling NFL games. You know, the world has moved to podcasts, doing some of those. So I'm definitely finding things I like, and I'll continue to do that. But you know, that daily, my wife even sees it in me. You know, when something big is going on in sports, you know, having that itch to have an outlet to talk about it for 4 hours was pretty nice. So I every now and then I am envious of you guys and still of Mike doing his show and stuff, and like to get out there every now and then.
Yeah, well, I know you've been doing work with Learfield and Westwood One, and we'll talk to you about USA Football here in just a second as well. But let's say you were doing morning radio Tuesday morning. How would you have led off that show considering the Brian Kelly news and obviously your relationship to Notre Dame?
Well, God knows I had a bunch of opportunities yesterday to talk about it. My phone blew up on that one. You know, I would say, you know, I'm 58 now. I'd say a decade or a couple of decades ago when I first got into this, I probably would have ranted and raved about, oh, you leave your team when you got a game left, you're under contract, and you're leaving, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? This is the reality of sports. This is the reality of college sports. Coaches leave under contract for whatever reasons they have. I said this about NFL players and coaches and college players and coaches. Everybody has their reasons for what they do. Some, you know, it's money. Some it's, for example, I'll give you Brian Kelly. In my opinion, I think Brian Kelly left. Obviously, the money was better. He wasn't getting paid $9.5 million at Notre Dame. And the one thing missing from Brian's resume is that FBS national championship. He doesn't have it. Now he's gotten in the playoffs when they had the playoffs. And when my sons, Mike and Jake, were on the team in 2012, they got to the title game, the old BCS, and they lost. So they haven't won. They haven't won a title since '88. I think Brian feels at LSU with the type of players he can get there that he'll have a more consistent, better chance to win a national championship than he did at Notre Dame. Listen, he became the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame over Newt Rockne, which is unbelievable. He's had a successful run there, but he hasn't gotten that title. And I think that's something he's looking for, as well as it's nice when your bag of money probably double in that space as well.
As far as when you went to college, and even me, like looking back at it, did you ever imagine college football, college sports being this way? I'm not sure if you guys talked about it, but the idea of players getting paid, coaches being able to leave. I was of the mindset, look, if I commit to you, you commit to me unless you're fired. Right. If I go to your school, then I'm there for those 3, 4, 5 years to get my degree. Like from where you were to now, are you shocked by it, surprised by it, or this is just the way it was meant to be?
I guess, you know, in the beginning when it started happening, I was a little shocked and dismayed. You know, we never thought about transferring. We never thought about sitting out a bowl game to get ready for the draft. It was you be with your team to the last possible second. Coaches stayed with their teams, you know, and then we've seen the change. So I guess that's just evolution of the game and evolution of how things go. You know, college football is monster money. Coaches get paid monsters amount of money. So we would probably have evolved to, okay, well, why shouldn't the players get some of that? Now, I'm glad the money is not coming from the schools, because then schools would be cutting other sports programs, and that would be horrible. You know, it's coming from – basically what we're doing is taking the bag of money that a player got illegally, and we're putting it on top of the table and saying, now you can go ahead and get it legally. And the game isn't being ruined by it. We had a great college football season. The rules will be streamlined somewhat at some point. So I don't think it's bad at all. And as far as the coaches, I know there are people that say, well, don't pay him as much or don't let him leave. Well, good luck with that. You can use every cliche you want. The toothpaste is out of the tube, the horses are out of the barn. It ain't going back. You know, that's not going back anywhere. You're not going to get a coach if you try and put those stipulations on him. So I've maybe its age has mellowed me a little bit. I've just come to say, all right, you know, this is where it's going, instead of me yelling about it, because there are some things I still don't like. Okay, but let's see what we can do constructively going forward. How can we make NIL the best it can be? How do you deal with – and the reason why the coaches are changing now, like Lincoln and Brian Kelly, is we have that early signing period that's coming up in 2 weeks. So schools want to be set by then. So that's why you're seeing some of these moves right now.
Yeah. Mike Golic Sr. on the line with us. We'll talk to you about USA football here in 1 second. Let me ask you about the NFL. We've been trying to figure this out, and I don't know that there's a single person in the country that can answer this question. Make sense of the AFC for us, Mike. Please.
Well, I mean, for Tennessee, listen, you got injuries working there, right? I mean, Ramon, you know that every season there's a mash unit somewhere that hits early in the season. I think last year was probably the 49ers, you know, that hits somewhere, somehow, some way. And for now, you know, the Titans to lose what they've lost, luckily for them, they've built up a pretty damn good lead in that division. Yeah. You know, sweeping the Colts. I think you got, two more division games, Jacksonville, and then a rematch with Houston. How the hell that happened a couple weeks ago, I have no idea, with Houston. But I think that's how healthy can you be by the end of the season. Kansas City isn't all of a sudden going to find the magical touch to score 35 a game. The Buffalo Bills, while we said, okay, if it's not Kansas City, we're going to anoint them, then they have a couple of stinkers that we just scratch our head over. Baltimore certainly looks good at times, but Lamar, everybody's waiting for him to get it done in the playoffs. And then there's old Bill Belichick, 6 wins in a row, playing great defense, helping his rookie quarterback come along. Mm-hmm. And everybody last year was saying, oh, look at Bill. He needed Tom Brady. It was all Tom and not Bill. And now Bill's got his team as the most consistent in the AFC. But it's a head-scratcher in the AFC, way more in the NFC where there's a little more depth there. I couldn't tell you what's going on in the AFC, save for if Tennessee can get healthy. I know Derrick Henry's not coming back, but if they can get as healthy as they can before the playoffs.
Mike, so you're here also on behalf of USA Football, and I'm a dad that's got a 13-year-old who just started playing football. I had rules. Hey, look, you're either going to start playing when I'm done or when I know that you know exactly what football is. I'm not sure when Junior started playing, but the idea that, look, the game has to be taught a certain way, and you're on this board to say, hey, look, I want to help assist with this game of football because you love it. What is this USA Football done for you, and how are you assisting in the growth of the game here?
Well, I mean, we see the growth. We saw how football has grown through the end of your career, Ramon. Yeah. And listen, all the NFL players are playing Little League football somewhere. Mm-hmm. That's where we all came from. Mm-hmm. So, you know, with what's going on with the game and the safety of the game, USA Football has done a great job. It's a great governing body overseeing the sport and saying, okay, we want coaches to be certified. That's probably the most important thing. They certify over 100,000 coaches to teach the game of football in this new development, this new way. You know, keeping your head out of tackling, having different, you know, it doesn't go just from flag football to tackle football. Mm-hmm. There are divisions in between that you can work on where, you know, it's a smaller field where you can be in pads, but you're not tackling. So it's all fundamentals. You're learning along the way the proper way to do things through different levels, not just flag or full-on tackle, because we know the separation of athletic ability at a young age. It could make kids just lose interest. Mm-hmm. So this is a way to kind of keep all that together, really help the moms, because we know in the moms and dads, it's the moms who make the big-time decisions here, and show the parents that this is what we're doing with the game. We're giving you options with the game on where you want to put your child, where you basically feel he is, where his development is, and we're going to bring him along from there, whether it's flag, the other levels, or all the way to tackle football. We're going to help bring them along. And the best way to do that is make a young man or woman, a boy or girl, enjoy it enough to come back the next year and maybe bring some friends. So they just do a great job understanding where football is right now and saying, okay, this is the way we need to go forward. The Oklahoma drills, the toughness drills with 8-year-olds, that's ridiculous. There's no need for that anymore. Let's teach them the fundamentals of the game, have fun along the way. God forbid we still have some fun, and then hope they enjoy it and want to keep doing it, because the next best tacklers in the NFL are going to be in Little League right now because of the way the game has gone and how we want to teach these kids to tackle.
Another thing that you guys do is you give out grants. I saw you guys deliver more than $2 million in grants annually. We had a community here in Waverly, Tennessee that had a huge flood. The high school team lost a lot of stuff, a lot of equipment, and just they ended up hosting a game here at Nissan Stadium because of it to help fund them getting back to the game of football, which we all love. So can you explain to the listeners who are listening to us this morning about how they apply for that, what do they need to do? Because football is big here in this area.
Well, and the Titans have been among the league's most committed franchise when it comes to supporting this grassroots football. And everybody can find out information at usafootball.com on all of that. But I guess the bottom line to what you're saying there is the one thing about we can try and govern the game and teach kids the proper fundamentals, but if they don't have a way to play, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
So, if teams need grants, that's why USA Football there is for that. If they find themselves in a situation where they need uniforms or need something, well, you can't play the game unless you have that stuff. So let's just not take care of the stuff on the field. Let's help take care of the stuff off the field that can help these kids get on the field as well. It's got to be all encompassing. It can't just be, oh, well, you guys can't get pads or you can't get a place to play. Well, sorry, go find something else to do. That's not what USA Football does. They're in it from off the field, all the things involved off the field, to getting all the way on the field and then making the game as fun and safe as they can.
So we have Mike Golic on the line. I don't know we've ever done this before, Moan.
Yeah.
But we have a caller who says that Golic's been just a huge inspiration on his life, and he listened to you for so many years. He's on the line right now. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, guys. Mike in Connecticut. First time, long time. Really just wanted to get on here. Hey, Dad, what right do you have coming on the show that I'm friends with, all right? I come on and hang out with these guys and do ratchet stuff with my friends. I almost cussed on this show because I like them that much here. And you're going to come in. Can you not let me have one thing?
So for those that may not know, this is my son, Mike. And here's the deal, Mike. I hate to do this publicly on air, but Ramon texted me off air, and he said, listen, we have your son on, and he's just killing us. He's not really very good. But we have him on because we respect you so much. So we're hoping you can come on our show and do something like that's good, because to make up for the garbage that you bring when you come on air with them.
Listen, I have never wanted to actually have to do this, but I promise you, I will put you in a home.
What? Seriously.
Like, I promise you, Mom is going to be allowed to come and live with all of us and enjoy a life with her grandkids, and we're going to come visit you in your diaper and feed you applesauce when I put you in a home.
Guys, when they say everybody you love your kids the same, that's a lie. I rank my kids every single day. They're ranked every day. And right now, not only is Mike behind Jake and Sydney, you're behind the 3 dogs as well. That's where you are today.
Yeah, no, this is, guys, I don't know if you know this or not. This is like Mel and Todd during draft season. And my mom just get up every day and scream at each other about which one of us is going to be number one on the big board right now, who's got the best traits here, who's rising during the postseason. So
yeah. This is awesome. I can't lie. The world's emerged. And by the way, more linemen. I don't even care, Mike Senior, if you're a defensive lineman, okay? The more linemen we can get on the radio or TV, the better off this world is all I got to say.
Oh, listen, I agree. Linemen always explain things way better than the pretty boy quarterbacks, without a doubt. And, when Mike and I ever get on air and we start arguing about things, I always have the mic drop, which is, Mike, how's your head of hair doing?
Oh my.
Yeah, no, listen, that's fine. You want to come on here and fight dirty? I see how it is here. We're getting ready for the holiday season. I thought we'd be able to really, turn things around on this call. But I see you're up to your same old tricks. That's all right. You know what? I can poop in a bag and send that to you for Christmas. That's fine. Just flaming bags of poo, Dad?
Yeah. That's light work right there, huh, Junior?
That's just a slow Tuesday. I do this. All right?
Yeah, he does it pretty well. And he knows where I had all my surgery, so that's kind of trouble as well.
Yeah, that is really the helpful one. But, yeah, to the point about getting, maximum linemen on air, see, what other people don't realize about all of our positions is we're not like all these pretty boy spots that get to come in and thrive on, being good-looking or being super athletic or having abs. We have had to grind with personality for so long. We have had to be witty and funny just to try and get people to hang out with us because we're generally large, sweaty, and a little bit unbecoming. So we do this, and there's no wonder we all end up with a microphone in front of our face.
Yeah. I don't know how you're supposed to end something like this. I think I would just say this has been Mike and Mike in the morning.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
I love it.
That was a good way to end it right there. That was nice.
We appreciate both you guys. Mike, real quick, plug USAFootball.com before we let you go.
Yeah, again, USAFootball.com is going to give you all the information that you need about your child playing Little League football. They're just doing such a great job. The key is the coaches are certified to teach football a certain way that's going to be best for your young child, boy or girl. So they do an excellent job. I couldn't be happier to be part of their organization.
So how's Christmas going to be at the Golic household after all of this?
I know this. I'm going to get present. Mike's going to get a rock.
Upside his head?
No, he's going to get a rock it wrapped in a box. I got a rock.
I got a rock.
We save our wrestling for Easter. You can ask Dad about that.
Oh!
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.
This is awesome. Thanks,
Indeed.
fellas.
That is that's something right there, folks.
That was awesome.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was Mike and Mike in the morning. We'll be right back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
We are nearing the end of 2021, and it has been a year. I'm sure most of you have experienced and struggled with supply chain issues due to COVID. I know I have. These days, it's just not easy to get the things you want. Just look around. It's probably not there. But I'm here to tell you, my friends at Two Rivers Ford have some great news. New inventory is coming in every single day. So if you're in the market for a new Ford, make sure you check out tworiversford.com daily and see what's arrived on a lot. If you want someone at Two Rivers Ford to contact you when the vehicle you're looking for comes in, just give them a shout and they'll make sure you get alerted. The salespeople at Two Rivers Ford don't work on commission, so you never have to worry about them pressuring you to buy anything. No, there's none of that sweaty palm stuff. They're there simply to help you get what you want and to make the whole process easier. Also, if you know exactly what vehicle you want and you want to order it, Two Rivers Ford can do that for you also. They now have a Built For You program where you can order any model, any color with any available feature. You can order that Ford today and get it delivered right to your door when it gets manufactured. There's a reason why my friends at Two Rivers Ford have been doing business for almost 40 years, and that's because they make the customer experience hassle-free, honest, and easy. The last part being the best, easy. So for all things Ford, reach out to the most trusted Ford dealership in Tennessee. That's my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people.
Welcome back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 Zone. Mike Golic Jr. tweets, it took me 5 seconds to almost cuss on air. This show brings out the worst in me. You know what show he's talking about? This one. We had his father on, and he did a run-in. We might have to play some of that again because it was so much fun.
Only show in the country that could reunite Mike and Mike in the Morning.
I love it, man.
That was a lot of fun.
That was real good. That was real good. I'm still tripping. I was dying in the background. Sometimes we just do.
Like when we talked about doing it, yeah, that's just the worst, man.
It makes sense. After that interview, Shay playing again. After that interview, what do we do? Sometimes we just do.
That's so stupid.
That might be good or bad, but
That's so stupid.
and that's good now.
So ridiculous.
Sound like Kayla now.
This is so ridiculous.
That's what I was trying to sound like Bill Burr.
This shy ain't no joke.
No, it was fun, but like just listening to it, like when we had the idea, like we thought about it. It's just how's it actually going to play out, right? Because we know that Junior will play along with it, but how do you do this? Like you're in different situations. Senior had no idea.
Senior was not in on the joke. He did not know.
That was definitely a run-in situation right there.
And he was excited that a caller had called in because they loved him. Well, they have to. Your dad.
Maybe he loves him. I mean,
he told me he's going to send him to a nursing home.
Said he was going to
put him in a home.
Senior said he was going to give him a rock.
What if there's an elf on the shelf in the Golic household during Christmas?
I can guarantee you it is. He also he took a jab, like a personal jab at him. He's got a one-up on him. And he talked about his hair. Not okay, Senior. That was violent right there, y'all. That was super violent.
Junior came real close to the dump button, though.
He did. I'd have let it ride.
Then talked about taking a dump later on. Jeez.
This isn't even close
I don't even know what's happening right now.
This isn't even close to the Joey Chestnut conversation.
I'm just glad he didn't have any hot meat in his mouth this time.
That's what I'm saying. That right there was that was an epic conversation from Junior last
That is
night.
in the J. Martin Ramon After Dark file on this computer.
That file's growing, unfortunately.
Yes, it is. What's crazy, he had no idea it was going to go like that. It was so violent. People were saying they couldn't tell the difference in the voices either.
You really couldn't.
No.
It is
They're
interesting.
pretty similar.
It is interesting.
Very similar, man.
No, but that was a lot of fun.
You can tell Senior's missing doing this.
He is.
He just jumped right in.
He had takes.
He had takes.
He did.
When look, over the 2 weeks, I was just like, it's hard to shut down and realize you don't have to talk about something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can just watch sports again because we don't really get to do that. Like
No.
What we watch, we're like, well, can we get 12 minutes out of this? Can we get an hour out of this?
Yeah.
What should the opinion be on this? Like how do I feel about this? I can't just kind of see it as an escape.
You never turn off.
And if Golic did it for as long as Golic Sr. did it, he's constant. Like you just see it in terms of story. What does Buck said to us once, and he's dead right. It's like everything's content. That's right.
Yeah.
And I've thought that since the beginning of my career. So everything could be content. Like literally.
Yeah.
Going to Starbucks this morning and seeing those two tip jars, one that said Elf and one that said Home Alone. It's just, yeah,
content.
I'm bringing that on the show.
How many stories about CG have worked their way into the show? I mean,
Oh.
her entire life has been encapsulated on this show.
Pretty much. She can go back and listen to the archive. She's going to remember a lot more about her childhood than I remembered about mine.
Straight up.
And then she's
man.
probably never going to speak to me again because of something I've talked about with her diaper or something like that.
She's going to be like,
Speaking of diapers, Junior talking about putting Senior in a diaper in the home.
He also told him it's light work for him to poop in a diaper and send it to him. Mike, this dude raised you.
Junior is on Twitter all
Yeah, he's
day.
If y'all don't follow him, he's a real
him and
good
Alan
dog.
Bell.
Yeah.
Yes, Alan Bell. Alan Bell has never slept.
No.
Yeah.
Him and Alan Bell and maybe Mina Khan.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. No,
Bette Midler's 76, Moan.
Bette Midler?
Yeah.
Was she in the Christmas story? The mom? That's not the mom?
You know, I like that guess.
Her hair is not like far off.
Yeah, the hair's kind of
hair
close.
is not far off.
Yeah.
Geez, 76? No, Gone with the Wind would be.
Yeah, it's not that.
That ain't-
Although Wind Beneath My Wings.
That's right.
I have wind in it.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, quiet.
Stop.
Sometimes we just do.
The dumbest thing you've ever said. Yet so profound.
Bette Midler out.
Oh, there's the coughing fit. There it is.
Hey.
Hey.
That
There
Miller
it
was
is.
in the cough.
Hocus Pocus.
Oh, for real?
That's one.
The old witch?
Yeah.
She would have been the oldest, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's 76, so yeah, old witch.
I didn't mean that personally. I'm sorry.
Sarah Silverman's 51.
The Notebook.
What?
American Pie?
No.
Oh, man. This is for you, little Ronnie.
It is for LeBron. Friday Night Lights.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
That sounds like she was in one of those mid-2000s.
Stand-up comedian, Sarah Silverman show.
Well, you were right about the mid-2000s thing. I mean, you were kind of in the right direction.
She was the
Just didn't
voice
get
of
there.
Vanessa is her name, I think, in Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, she was the voice of the little girl in Wreck-It Ralph. I don't remember the
that
character's
little
name.
girl's so
though.
cool, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did a great job.
Your daughters will love that. Your daughter loved that movie.
I like that movie. I do. It's good.
I enjoyed it. It was
I'm
fun.
with you. It's the fact that you said yeah.
Lee Trevino's 82, Moan. This one really doesn't count.
Lee Trevino,
But
international soccer star.
that's not the worst answer that you've given in the last 2 minutes.
A matador.
That is.
Sometimes we just do.
Why would I give you a Matador's birthday?
Hey, that's a real popular.
Only Matador I would give you is El Matador, a.k.a. Tito Santana.
That's right.
Was he in Tombstone?
Oh, or Los Matadores.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
It
right.
was in the E.
That's right. Lee Trevino, golfer, PGA.
Well, I was in sports. That felt
I
right.
said that's why it didn't count.
Okay.
I said it didn't count.
That felt
I'm
right.
going to give you two. I think they're going to be two layups for you on the way out, okay? Janelle Monáe, 36.
Janelle Monáe, the artist. She's a R&B artist, yeah.
Yeah, she did do some R&B.
Yeah.
She's more acting now, I think, than music.
I knew
She's
her
doing
more
both, I
from
guess.
music, yeah.
Well, music's where she started, but I think she's doing more acting
She's
maybe now than she's doing music.
She is, which she's gotten really good at, too.
And then this one, I mean, Zoe Kravitz is 33.
Hey, Zoe Kravitz, she was in Dope, the movie. Yep. That's
Dope's a
Lenny's.
good movie.
Yeah. Have you been for real or you?
Yeah, no, Dope's an
okay.
excellent
All
movie.
right.
So dope is dope?
Yeah.
Soundtrack's really good, too.
It is really good. Lenny Kravitz's daughter, by the way.
Correct.
And what's the name? Denise.
Lisa Bonet.
Yeah, Lisa Bonet.
I knew the Bonet part. I forgot the first name.
And finally,
Come on.
I think
Come on.
you will not get this. Eric Bloom is 77.
Drumline.
Gosh,
77.
That is so much closer than it should
77?
Oh, really?
be. Blue Oyster Cult.
Drum
The only reason I'm doing that is because of more cowbell.
Or cowbell.
By the way, Slay just said that's the best drop ever.
What, this one?
Sometimes we just do. Boom.
Yeah, coming from a guy.
I beg to differ.
Yeah, coming from a guy with.
The best drop ever is Rick Ross.
Oh, there's no question.
Give us that one on the way out. We got the fourth hour. Rhett Bryan will join us. Is he doing the phone today or is he in here?
He's zooming today.
Zooming today.
He's at the house, man. Bye week.
Loafing.
No, it's a bye week.
I know. Fourth hour of the program's next. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
Tua Tagovailoa, QB, Alabama.
9:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Titans placed rookie linebacker Monty Rice on injured reserve. Wide receiver Austin Mack was released from the practice squad. We'll talk more about the Titans with Titans Radio's Rhett Bryan coming up momentarily. College football, with their win over Ohio State, Michigan jumped to number 2 in the latest college football playoff rankings. Undefeated Georgia remains at number 1, Alabama at number 3 after they survived against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. The Bulldogs and the Tide will meet in the SEC championship game on Saturday. Meanwhile, undefeated Cincinnati remains at number 4. College basketball, number 13 Tennessee crushed Presbyterian 86-44 in a game that was heard here on The Zone. Kennedy Chandler, 15 points and 7 assists. And oh, what a night at Bridgestone Arena last night. Nashville Predators destroyed the Columbus Blue Jackets 6-0. Philip Forsberg was the leading goal scorer with 4 goals. Teammate Mikkel Granlund had 4 assists. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5, The Zone.
What's happening? 4th hour, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio. Upon you, upon us. We are blessed to bring it to you courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, Jason Martin. At Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. So the public shopper that was doing my shopping trying to find the Coke Zero Sugar Cherry.
Mm-hmm.
Lies
again?
Sent me a text through the service or whatever saying, yeah, I haven't seen this in a while.
I'm
all
pretty
lies.
sure the Glenbrook one had it. I was in there this past weekend, by the way. Glenbrook probably got it for sure. Sometimes we just do. That's my store, baby. What is Kroger saying to him where I live at? Sometimes we just do.
It's the dumbest. We're going to use it until the end of time.
What you can't see on the Zoom right now is Rhett's just laughing.
It's just this show.
That might be
is the darkest timeline. Let's go to Zoom. Yeah. Rhett Bryan, Titans Radio. It's the bye week, so he's not in studio. Rhett, what's up?
I am enjoying bye week already, taking some time off, walked the dog, had breakfast, and now I'm currently terrorizing the streets of Vice City circa 2003 with Grand Theft Auto.
Like the PlayStation 2 version?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Tommy Vercetti getting into some shenanigans.
Tommy Vercetti is currently just trying to roll through his run of completing rampages right now before he goes on other missions.
All right, so are you the guy that does all the missions linear, or are you the guy that I'm going to go get 5 stars and just see how long I can last, and then maybe I'll get back to the story?
Oh, some of both. I mean, I've done it multiple ways, but it's fun to go through the missions linear like you're saying. But yeah, I love getting 5 wanted stars and just seeing what's up. Now the way you survive is you get the Rhino tank.
Yeah, I was about to say,
you got 5 stars because nothing gets in your way. Nothing.
Have you done the bank job? Have you gotten that far? Yeah, the bank job and delivering the leaflets out of the.
Yeah, that's a tough one to get by there.
Yeah, those 2 are ones that afterwards you need a lunch. You need to kind of step away from it. Usually, well, that's the way to use. That's the way to do a bye week. Going retro with Vice City. That's still my favorite Grand Theft Auto game, I think.
Yeah, I think it's mine too.
I didn't realize you were this violent, Rhett.
Oh, come on, Ramon. You know I'm this violent.
I definitely knew you were this violent.
You walk the dog. Were you supposed to be one of the Sopranos right now?
How you doing?
How you doing?
I went out in my slippers and my robe to get the paper at the end of the driveway. There is no paper.
I love it, Rhett. I love bye week, Rhett, man. I saw you.
How you doing?
I saw you storming into the parking lot the other day. I was like, why is Rhett late? Oh, it's bye week, man.
Yeah, rolling in a little late.
I love
So,
it,
Rhett, tell me about the Titans. I know that's the weirdest way to ask.
Tell me a story about the Titans.
What's on your mind, and we can jump off from there into more specifics. But what's on your mind right now relative to this football team as this bye week has, thankfully, by the grace of God, arrived for this team?
Man.
Well, first of all, the bye week, I've never seen one that everyone needed. I mean, fans, coaches, players, staff, anybody around it. Everyone needed this. That, first of all. Second of all, I have Coach Dave McGinnis's words rolling around in my head of it's never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems. 8-4 record. That means it's never as bad as it seems. But the injuries and the 2-game losing skid and the turnovers, those are things that remind you it's never as good as it seems. But I just hope that it is a chance for these guys to get away and recharge. Of course, there'll be a vast majority of these guys that won't even be able to leave. They'll be in the building, getting treatment or rehab, trying to get back on track because there's so many guys that have been hurt. Now, obviously, the guys that have been playing Sunday to Sunday will scoot out of town this afternoon and have 4 days off. But, the hope is that you can redial in to whatever. And I think it starts with Mike Vrabel and John Robinson and figuring out what they have. Who do we have coming back? Who do we have that can help us here? What worked in the first 12 games? What didn't work in the first 12 games? And kind of a chance to, I said it on the OTP podcast the other day. It's like, when you've got your smartphone and your apps aren't working exactly right and they, you open an app and it immediately disappears. Well, what do? You power off, you do a soft reset, right? And I know it's not that easy, but it's like they have a chance to do a soft reset to figure out the rest of this thing, the rest of the way with 5 games to go and hopefully playoffs in this.
Yeah, and as far as just the coaches, Rhett, as far as, you mentioned everybody needs a reset, so I'll just start with them. What type of reset do you think they need going into this bye, man? Because it's been a lot. I'm sure they're going to be like me at some point. They probably coached up somebody they won't remember in a few years because it's been so many. So where are they at, as far as this reset?
I would say Monday and Tuesday and part of today is where Mike Vrabel and those guys are together and figuring out just some of those things I outlined in personnel. Okay, we anticipate that, Julio Jones will be back and, hey, Shane, you're going to get Bud Dupree back here pretty soon. Just start to plan for those things. I'm sure they're getting intel constantly on where Derrick Henry is in his rehab process. But, and obviously pouring into the pieces and parts of the playbook with, things situationally that worked and didn't work. Because, they got a great videography department that can send those cut ups to them and go, hey, here's, how we looked on third down the last 3 games. And here's, here we are in goal line situations in trailing it by a score. And here we are, in goal line situations in leading, just all those little finite things like that. I think it starts with something like that. But all of these guys, if they can, have to get away for a little bit and decompress and get back to business here next week.
So Michael Burgett had sent us this yesterday, and he sent us this again. The Man in the Arena show, the Tom Brady show that's on ESPN Plus right now, Vrabel is quoted as saying, you don't know what kind of culture you have until you know things aren't going well. And when you have some failure, then you'll define what your culture looks like. Seems to be pretty apropos to what the Titans are experiencing right now. They're trying to figure out what their identity is, sans superstars. Tannehill's being called into question and what's fair and all these other kinds of things. There's reason to jump off this ship. But the one thing that you can see, you tell me this, Rhett, but watching the Patriots game, look, you made mistakes and you missed opportunities, but it still feels like a team that's well coached and a team that's not out there in any way waving a white flag.
No, 100% right, Jason. You don't have a bunch of street, guys that have come in that are hired guns because you've been, decimated by injuries in this, and they're just running rogue, doing whatever. That's the thing that I think is the positive out of this, is that the effort, the finish, the physicality, the fight, all of it's there. They haven't laid over and rolled over into the ditch in this thing. They are still giving the effort. Had they not turned the ball over like they did in New England, I mean, we saw at the half as a 3-point game. So, there's a chance they could have won that one, and certainly hung, through deep into 4 quarters. Again, I'm not talking moral victory here, but you see the fight and the finish and the effort. I think that is where you can see the foundational pieces of the culture that they've tried to put in place with Mike Vrabel and John Robinson, Amy Adams Strunk, is what a Titan is. And they've got guys who are doing that. I would be much more concerned if I saw guys just kind of acquiescing through plays and just kind of doing whatever, and lots of hands on hips. And, they're doing the right things. They just, the Tannehill stuff and the turnovers. And look, Mike Vrabel said it Monday at his press conference. Some of it is Ryan Tannehill. Some of it is the offense in whole. Some of it is the offensive line. Some of it is lack of, super experienced receivers due to injury. I mean, it's a combination of things. Clearly there's the Ryan Tannehill parts in this on his part, but it is not all his fault.
Yeah. We'll come back and we'll get into the AFC a little bit more as well. Trying to figure out what is this conference and what even is this NFL right now. More with Rhett Bryan on the other side. It is JMart and Ramon here on this Wednesday, 104.5 The Zone. And hey, I want to talk to you about Michael Ramsey, my pal over at PAI Medical, and the expert staff over there, the help that they're giving to thousands of men and women when it comes to their hair loss. If that's something that's worrying you, or if it's just something that you think about, you look in the mirror, maybe you don't look like you used to. Maybe you see old photos and you realize, yeah, it's a little bit thinner up there than I remember it being. PAI can help. All they do is hair. Nobody does it better. How do I know? Because I went and checked them out just a couple of months ago. I'm still waiting to see the full results of what I did. But after visiting with them, seeing their plan for me and just seeing, thicking up the crown just a little bit. There's a little bit of hair loss in my family. And I just thought maybe you take this off the books a little bit. I knew some people that had used PAI. And after talking to Michael Ramsey, talking to the staff, I knew I had made a good choice. Whether it's surgical procedures, they got that for you, but they also have non-surgical solutions, the most advanced options anywhere in the country. Laser therapy, nutrient-rich plasma, that's the PRP that you're hearing about everywhere, where it's extracted from your own blood, reintroduced into your scalp. All of it is your own stuff. It's your own hair, just rejuvenating what's there. And when it comes to cost, look, at one time this was not all that affordable, but there are affordable payment plans that can fit absolutely anyone's budget. PAI Medical Group has helped Nashville for over 25 years. Again, all they do is hair. Nobody better at it. 615-376-6010. Talk to Michael Ramsey. Talk to his staff. I promise it'll be a good decision, a good conversation, and you're going to realize, see what they can do for you. Once I saw it, I said, yeah, let's go ahead and absolutely do it. And you can tell them JMart sent you their way. 615-376-6010 or visit them online, wegrowhair.com. That's wegrowhair.com. Little Blue Oyster Cult. Needs a little more cowbell. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. We're about to get back to Rhett Bryan, but Maddie is on the line. Maddie, what you got?
Hey, good morning. The whole cherry coke thing.
Mm-hmm.
My local Publix in Fieldstone Farms, I needed a specific ingredient for a cake. I couldn't find it. They said, well, we have a special order person. So she special ordered it. It was there in 4 days, and I got it. So I would recommend rolling up in your Publix and say, hey, got to give me some cherry coke.
Okay, Maddie.
There we go.
One thing I will say is, after researching over the last few days, there's major aluminum shortage due to the supply chain and all that kind of stuff. So Coke has like all their kind of sidelines, they've stopped producing just to make sure they have the regular stuff out there. See, that's been one of the problems.
See, for you, it's the Cherry Coke Zero.
Yes.
For me, what I can't find is the diet version of the Dr. Pepper with cream soda.
Yeah, you can't find that anywhere.
I can't find the diet one. I can find the regular, but I can't find the diet Dr. Pepper. with
There's
cream
now
soda.
a new diet Dr. Pepper, or there's a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar with cherry. That's all online with the new,
that's gotta be
the new logo and everything. So it's clearly new, and you can't find that anywhere either. So there you go. First world problems.
Big time first world problem. Sometimes we just do.
Rhett Bryan back with us via Zoom during the bye week. Rhett, the struggle is real around here.
Hey, yeah, it started with that damn ship that got hung in the Suez Canal
That's
all those
right.
months ago, and here we are.
Yeah, for real.
That's
For real.
Just keep on
Rhett.
going back. We can try to trace it further. The airline in Malaysia, the airplane that went down.
Yeah.
Yes.
How far can we take this thing back? Can we get to 1963, the grassy knoll?
Dude, there's Freemasons involved somewhere.
Oh,
around
no
there.
doubt.
It was before the Cuban Missile Crisis.
There's a Dan Brown book somewhere.
I was about to say the Da Vinci Code would explain all of this.
Ever since we couldn't get Cuban cigars here, Rhett. Ever since then.
So we're trying to get an explanation
There
there.
you go.
Explain this one to me, Rhett. Explain the AFC right now.
Good luck with that. Look, this is former Commissioner Pete Rozell's dream lived out. I mean, he wanted as much parity and mediocrity as he could, so it's competitive, that all 32 cities have eternal hope every year. This is a product of that. I mean, you can see it. Now, pepper in pandemic and COVID protocols and, modern day football with CBAs where the guys don't practice as much and work out as much in the spring. And, they have a lot of soft tissue injuries. I mean, there's this whole thing that kind of makes it up and what it is. And look, that's the part that I was saying in the previous segment about, it's never as bad as it seems for the Titans because, yeah, you just dropped one to New England, but New England's, they've got Buffalo twice in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So using a wrestling analogy here, Jason, it's just like a Royal Rumble or a Battle Royal, and you've taken some shots and you're over in the corner, leaned up against the turnbuckles, kind of acting like, playing possum, so to speak. And all these guys are eliminating each other or just beating what out of each other. And then, when there's like 3 or 4 dudes standing, you're up and in. And throwing guys over the top rope, 2 feet on the ground and eliminating people left and right. So I kind of feel like that's where the Titans are in this. If they can get some personnel back and, keep notching some wins in this thing.
And that's where I was going to go with you next is getting players back, man. And you talk about the bye week and getting everybody healthy, but we hadn't really mentioned it a whole lot here or talked about it a whole lot. But Money Rice went to IR yesterday. Coming out of this bye, Rhett, who's expected to be back from that group? I know we saw Dylan Cole play this past weekend. Like, as you said, this bye was necessary, but linebackers specifically got to get back on this field.
Well, and I'm not the one that have kept up with all of the, because on IR with designation to return is 3 games, not 3 weeks. There's been some confusion about that. So I haven't looked at the exact return dates, but with where you hope that David Long Jr.'s back, that Rashawn Evans is back to go with Jayon Brown, and they can kind of roll on until they can get things, going like they need to again. But, you still don't have Nate Davis at right guard, Bud Dupree, Julio Jones. You're going to have A.J. Brown out for, a couple of more games. I mean, this is, it's amazing how the numbers in this. I mean, guys, they've broken the NFL record. It's been 86 different guys have been on this active roster. And the previous record was 84 for a whole season. There's 5 games left. Yeah. So, I mean, that tells you where things have been. And again, for them to have an 8-4 record is remarkable.
Yeah, and with that badge of honor right there, being able to handle this storm, like I said, it's not as good as it seems, not as bad as it seems. So the guys that you've seen come in for a week or two, Rhett, I mean, how would you judge their performance as far as what they've done? It seemed like a guy for sure. I'm going to mention his name again, but Dylan Hollywood Cole seems to have found himself a position. He played a position last week, and it wasn't just, a special teamer.
Well, here's the thing. Dylan Cole, we were familiar with before he ever became a Titan. He was a Houston Texan. He had a play against the Titans not that long ago. He had an interception return for a touchdown in Houston in a game I remember not that long ago. The guy's got wheels. I mean, you've seen that video of him coming back from his injury over the summer doing the, like the episode of The Office where Michael Scott's trying to run in front of the speed trap deal. He's hitting 21 on the clock. Well, hey, that's pretty good by my book. I mean, golly. But yeah, look, they have had really nice contributions from a Nick Westbrook-Akina, from a Dylan Cole, from those kinds of guys. They just haven't had enough of that.
Yeah.
And this just goes to the attrition of where it is. You miss that you don't have A.J. Brown and obviously Derrick Henry. But, that's another thing that I think is a positive development is you were able to run that ball for 270 yards as a team against New England's defense. And, you would think, well, the last time they had 2 100-yard rushers was the Thanksgiving Day game against the Lions, the year they went 0-16 with Lindell White and Chris Johnson. Well, that's 2008.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time ago. You would have thought, well, it's Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray or whatever. No, it's Deontay Foreman and the other kid. I'm drawing a blank. Now I've got bye week brain here.
Deontay Foreman and
Hilliard.
Yes, thank you.
Dontrell
Hilliard. Every time I say his name, I want to say Dontrell Willis, Florida Marlins pitcher with the flat bill hat.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with that. And Rhett, this is the other part of it too. Is coming out of this bye week next week. The hometown kid, Golden Tate, man, you kind of expect him to be involved in some type of capacity moving forward. I know it could be necessary that AJ is going to still be out, but what do you expect his role to be when he has the ability to come with this offense?
Well, I mean, they need him. And it was tough for anybody, 11-year vet or not, to throw him into the fire last week. And it's you're always told it's the difference in the language of how the plays are called. It's basically a lot of the same kinds of things. But this will just, give Golden Tate a chance to come out and help contribute. And I expect he'll probably be ready to do that on the other side of this against Jacksonville Sunday after next. I would think that would be a thing because I wouldn't think he'd need a ton more time to get up to speed.
Yeah. Derrick Henry's absence feels a lot more prevalent when this team is not getting turnovers. And you heard Vrabel say that, Rhett, on Monday. He said, look, when you're giving up the football as often as we have over the last 2 weeks and not getting any in return, there's not a whole lot of teams, injuries or not, that are going to be able to overcome that.
No, if you are negative in the turnover ratio within a game and you've got more than 3 of those on your end of it and nothing in return, I don't care who you are. I don't know what the stats show, but I would say it is slim and none that teams win in those situations. Mike Keith mentioned it in the broadcast a couple of weeks ago against the Texans at home. Out of the nearly 500 games he and I have done together, there's been one I can remember from the early days, the reemergence or the rebirth of the Cleveland Browns, and it would have been 99, 2000, somewhere in there. where the Titans turned it over 7 times and still won the ball game. And I think that was at Nissan Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. One time out of 500 games. So that's how rare it is. It just doesn't happen. You have to force turnovers. You have to capitalize on those, give it back to your offense and hope that they, get some points on the board with that. And they went through a stretch where they did that pretty well. And certainly they did it last year. They were number one in that ratio. But, they got to get that back on straight. And I think that just comes with, getting a Bud Dupree back so that Danico Autry can get back into the place where he was, and he and Big Jeff up there just wreaking havoc. And then next thing you know, Kevin Byard's back there, getting something gift wrapped to him or making something, jumping a route and getting somebody. But, you've got to have some things to fall back in place to make this right.
Yeah, you do, man. And that's getting guys back. That's having the ability to make plays when necessary. But going back to this New England game this past weekend, just the first half, it felt like, you got to get something started, and they kept it close as they possibly could, Rhett. And what was the I guess the atmosphere like when it came down to the Patriots getting the league? Did you see, with it being so many new guys out there, just a difference in not having your regular guys out there, your normal starters?
I mean, it didn't appear like there was a huge drop off. I mean, certainly you could see it in some of the receiving core part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it. The run game did great, 270 yards rushing as a team. That's, golly, that's you look at that and you're not looking at turnover ratio and you're thinking, well, they won that game, right? Because I mean, you had to just have monster drives to be able to do that, but 5 turnovers will do that for you. But yeah, again, I never saw where there wasn't any fight or finish in this thing. The physicality and the effort were there. But yeah, I mean, think about it. Even Marcus Johnson's on IR with a hamstring. And, Nick Westbrook-Aquino, like I said, he's done a very serviceable job. He's a nice young man and a big physical receiver. But, he can only do so much, unless he just emerges in this last 5 games as like, okay, he's the solid number 3 and could be maybe a 2 down the road. I think he has put himself into place to be a 3 going forward when, AJ and Julio come back. But yeah, you could see a little difference there. But again, you got to remember, New England, their defense has done really well as of late. I mean, you talk about a turnover machine, what you want to be, that's it right there. Because they're being led by rooks on offense. Ramondre Stevenson has done a nice job running the ball for him out of Oklahoma. And then Mac Jones, the rookie, from Alabama, he's not, they're not asking him to do crazy things, but what he's doing in the short to intermediate game, he's just as accurate as the earmarks were here on him coming out of the draft. What he did at Alabama, he's very accurate. He's, again, he's flirting with a completion percentage that's the NFL record for a rookie quarterback. So, he's not doing anything to really mess anything up.
The Dolphins are playing a little better. The Niners are certainly getting healthy and are starting to make some noise in the NFC West, especially with Seattle falling completely off a cliff and the Rams looking very vulnerable at present. When you look at the schedule, it was supposed to be really easy, but Steelers in Pittsburgh, I don't care if they're done. That's not going to be an easy game. The Niners on Thursday Night Football, they may have something to play for. And again, the Dolphins seem to be getting right. Their defense is playing better. Jalen Waddle is starting to emerge a little bit in that offense. And if you lose to the Texans and the Jets, it doesn't matter how easy your schedule is. How do you feel about these last 5 games?
Well, I mean, Jason, the schedule is like a chameleon. It changes constantly. Yeah. And you're right. At one point it looked like, okay, it ain't a cakewalk, but that's doable. Right. But yeah, you just outlined it right there. Brian Flores has the Dolphins playing a little better, and the Niners are certainly better. And, with the way the AFC's been going, there's no given there. But I guess what I would say is the thing that would bother me is when you get to that point in the schedule where you have the Thursday night game, you have 3 games within an 11 or 12 day period, unless you have a bye week around there. And so when you're talking about that much physicality in that short a window. It's always tough on any team, healthy or not. And when you don't have all your pieces in place, that's going to make it difficult. So, that's the thing that bothers me, I think, is the lack of personnel going into that 3 games in 11 days gauntlet.
And as far as not having your pieces in place, this offensive line of the Titans has been a little bit of a musical chairs, depending on who was healthy and, mid-game leaving and stuff like that due to injury. But right now, the Titans lead the league as far as sacks given up. And I know a lot of that could be on the running back. It could be running out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage, but it's tallied up to 33. Do you think this is a little bit, that the musical chairs, or actually could it be the Derrick Henry effect where they're not actually playing the run and they're just trying to get to Ryan Tannehill?
Oh, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
Certainly. I mean, when you look at the offensive line, first of all, they've not yet played a full game, all 4 quarters with all 5 starters that trotted out there in week 1 against Arizona. Wow. They haven't done it yet. So, that's the first part of it. But yeah, when you take away a 6'3", 247-pound monster who has home run threat speed, all of a sudden, and that takes me back to what we were talking about with New England. They weren't scared of the wide receiving core. They didn't have to do a whole lot against those guys because it wasn't Julio Jones and it wasn't AJ Brown, big physical receivers who can, make excellent routes in the route tree and make things happen down the field. So yeah, you don't have to worry about Derrick Henry. And then I heard you setting it up earlier. Was it the Bill Barnwell piece you were talking about?
Yeah.
And the difference in the play action game without 22 in there, it tells the story. It certainly tells the story. So again, there's so many combination reasons as to why things are the way they are right now. It's not just one thing. It's a multitude of things.
Yeah, it is.
Is a Christmas movies list that includes Home Alone 3 completely invalid?
I saw your tweet and I agree. It's trash. Home Alone 3. Give me a break. Come on, man.
Have you actually seen it?
No, and I will not.
Trash. You should not.
You're not wrong, Rhett.
I'm not wasting my time with that. That's just like The Hangover. Funny movie, great movie. Never saw the other 2 because I was advised not to, and I never will.
Don't do me like this, Rhett, because all you do is feed into Jay's narrative, man. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Ramon loves the other 2 Hangover films.
Yeah, I'm out. Sorry. But, you can argue all day long about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not. Whatever, that's fine. But do not put Home Alone 3 in there. There are just some sequels that shouldn't have been made, and that's one of them.
Yeah,
just because, look, we've seen both of these teams, Patriots, Bills, Monday Night Football coming up. There's going to be a bye week. Those 2 teams are teams we have to pay attention to right now in the AFC. How do you assume that game will go?
All right, let's see. First of all, is this game in Orchard Park, New York, or is it in Foxborough?
That's actually a really good question.
They got both of them. Well, within like 2 weeks, they're playing each other.
Yeah, they're playing. Right. Yeah, they're playing too. But the Monday night game is in Buffalo.
I like Buffalo there, and obviously the home crowd. But I think Buffalo has started to dial it back in and refocus because they had a couple of stinkers. I mean, they got held to 6 points and lost by field goal to Jacksonville. I mean, that's where the AFC's been all year. So it's like, what happened? I think the Bills take care of business right there. And I think they have a chance to make Mac Jones look rather pedestrian in this. They've got the defensive weapons to do that. And they certainly have all the things on all 3 phases to hang with that team. Yeah. And I think the Bills in that one.
Good stuff, Rhett. As always, go back to Vice City. Listen to Flock of Seagulls.
Yes.
But don't roll in here with your hair like that next week.
No. That's a bad look. No, that wasn't a good look when that was a look. No.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right. You guys have a great rest of the week. I'll see you on Monday.
Enjoy your time.
That is Rhett Bryan at Rhett B Tennessee and at Titans Radio. Everybody needs a bye week. He said it. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody covers the team. Everybody that watches the team, and definitely the ones that play for the team.
This was a stretch. I mean, no Thursday night.
It's been It's been a thing. Sometimes
You just do. Sometimes we just do.
Possible I'm not here when we come back. Inky Johnson will be, though.
We need it.
You just got back.
Yeah, but I don't think I took enough time. I think the
Sometimes
pneumonia
we
is
just
creeping
do.
right back up. Sometimes pneumonia just does. We'll be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. We had a historic moment on Wednesday's show.
Jay, we reunited Mike and Mike in the morning.
Well, sort of. Mike Golic Jr. barged into his dad's conversation with us.
And it was ratchet.
It did escalate quickly. On Thursday, though, we'll talk to Steve Palazzolo, David Ubben, and Coach Mack.
We'll also revisit that awesome radio moment with the Golics. Sometimes we just do. Sometimes we just do.
Welcome back.
Solid, Shafe.
You know what you do with solids? You
Flush 'em.
them.
Sometimes we just do.
Do.
Sometimes we just do.
Yeah, you flush that too. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling coming up
Sometimes
next.
we just do.
In for Buck Rising.
I found a groove.
I think Will's got Austin Stanley with him today of A to Z Sports.
Sure.
I believe that's accurate.
I think it is. I don't know.
I think I saw him just walk in a second ago. It's accurate.
Will or Austin?
Austin.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all I got to say about that. That's Stone Cold Steve.
Well, we already had one family quarrel today.
Yeah,
We
if you
did.
missed that, we're going to play that again tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have it posted as a podcast, video, all that stuff later today.
Yeah, we have Mike Golic Sr. on the program for the first time, and his son, a savage by the name of Junior,
He is a savage.
called in, and it just basically turned into CM Punk and MJF.
It was a good time.
It was fun.
Mike, he came in taking shots at his pops, man.
At least no one got
Feedback.
At least no one got called a needle D.
And we got close.
Well, he talked about his head, and then he talked about putting him in a home.
Put him in a
I was-
home, and
Ooh.
adult diapers were mentioned.
And he said that I called him and told him I didn't want this trash in our station. I was like, I got your number, Mike Sr.
Yeah. On better occasions, next Tuesday, we're building a field of toys.
Come on,
Benefit
Jay.
the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program. Toy Field presented by T-Mobile is Tuesday at Nissan Stadium. While you're out doing your holiday shopping, remember those in need this holiday season. Pick up a gift for a senior or a toy. Help us build a field of toys at Toy Field. Tuesday, December 7th. All the info you need, 1045thezone.com. So there's a piece of The Athletic. Oh, my goodness. Inside the 24 hours that rocked Notre Dame football and where the Irish go from here without Brian Kelly. Put together by Matt Fortuna and Pete Sampson. It was put up about an hour ago. Man, it doesn't reflect all that well on Brian Kelly.
Well, the way Lincoln Riley, former athletes, are going at his neck, too, it ain't going to go too well for him.
Business decisions do come with costs.
They do.
And they come with casualties and collateral damage. And it's hard to say human beings are collateral damage, but oftentimes they are in these situations. And here, the collateral damage are the student athletes left behind that are staring at a coach that are saying, you have so much to accomplish. I hope you get to play for a national championship. I had to do what was right for me, despite the fact that I sat in front of you. And 7 days ago, in an interview, said, I will retire in South Bend. And then less than a week later, the LSU job.
Man,
He also said, to Dan Patrick this morning,
wow.
Brian Kelly did. He said that he was recruiting in California for Notre Dame on Sunday night. And on Monday on the plane flight back is when the deal was made.
What did he say to those prospects? Keep your options open, kid. You can go wherever you want to. Because he knew wherever.
I'm going to say he said that. I'm not going to necessarily say everybody's going to buy that.
But did you see what the contract said also? Start date was
November 28th, right?
This announcement came out when? 29th, 30th? Start date was the 28th. This just didn't happen overnight.
I don't think deals get made that fast.
Not deals that complicated.
No.
That many numbers?
See, I think there's a lot of talking done with agents.
Yes.
And then the client
Gets
doesn't,
brought in the 11th hour.
quote unquote,
Plausible
hear
deniability.
about it.
Yeah.
You got it. Yep.
I mean, but there was also a conversation. I think I sent it to y'all as a tweet. I don't know how good of a source it was, but it was saying that his people, Brian Kelly's, had actually reached out to Florida.
But he was going to retire in South Bend, but he said a week before that.
Stuff was all good about a week ago.
Look, sometimes people
just do. Sometimes we just do.
I'll tell you what we do need. Motivation. Midweek motivation. Our brother Inky Johnson on the line. Inky, how are you on this fine Wednesday?
My guys, I'm great, man. I hear you guys talking about the savagery of the coaching carousel, man.
Inky, you talk to businesses a lot. You talk to CEOs. You talk to movers and shakers. You're becoming a mover and shaker yourself.
Yeah, he is.
Business can be a really, really, really tough. It's a tough playground, is it not?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So we're struggling. Quite frankly, I'm getting over pneumonia. I've only been back for 1 day after being out for almost 2 weeks. Moan is struggling. He's been struggling since birth. He can barely walk upright. So he needs motivation. We need motivation. We're glad to turn our airwaves over to you to put a smile on our face on this Wednesday.
Let's do it, Ain't.
Got us, man. I got a couple of quote cards I want to share, and then I'm going to bring it home. The first one reads, when life is sweet, say thank you and celebrate. And when life is bitter, say thank you and grow. The next one reads, may your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears. And the last one reads, this is the beginning of a new day. You have been given this day to use as you will. You can waste it or use it for good. What you do today is important because you are exchanging a day of your life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever. In its place is something that you have left behind. Let it be something good. And so as we're coming up on the end of the year, you know, oftentimes it's like when a person is running a sprint, when a person is doing a drill, when a person is doing a task. Oftentimes when a person gets toward the end of an accomplishment of a goal or aspiration, oftentimes people let off the gas, right? And when you think about where separation happens in life, separation happens within the gaps. Separation happens within the blind spots. Separation happens when a guy runs 10 yards past the line as opposed to a guy that pulls up right before the line. And so my only task and challenge for us all is, as we close out this year, man, finish, right? Finish strong in our careers. Finish strong with the relationships that we have. Finish strong in parenthood. Finish strong. Let's continue to grow, continue to evolve, continue to develop. Let's finish strong, right? Every day is an opportunity to become better. Every day is an opportunity to do something great. Let's finish strong, right? We've been given this day as a gift. We can use it as we will. The quote says it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever. Left in its place is something that we've left behind, whether it be good or bad. And so my challenge to us is this. As we finish off, we just started in December, right? As we finish off December, I want you to challenge yourself every single day to do a random act of kindness, no matter how big or how small. Every single day, do a random act of kindness to improve and add value to someone's life or some environment that you find yourself in. Every single day for the rest of this year, random act of kindness. Let's finish strong. God bless. It was an honor to serve you.